little bit of uplifting information, a little bit of cheer, maybe. Yeah, it was it's definitely hold on, guys. Turn this on. Get to it. See if we can get this thing to turn on here. Hold on. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. I turned on my microphone. It was a little bit dead. Anyway, I thought today would be a good day to talk about something that's a little bit more uplifting, maybe a little bit more positive. We had this awful day yesterday, and again, we don't know where it's going to lead. But I don't really want to talk about war today. I don't want to talk about conflict today. I want to talk about a real story of a normie, that kind of did semi-normal things, and tell everyone, yeah, you guys all do the same stuff. Like, this isn't some kind of spectacular story. There's no massive amount of money here. There's no special intelligence. There's no anything here, and you can actually go from very, very modest kind of beginnings to having a decent middle class living. I think everyone today just wants to live a middle class life, and so I thought that I would tell everyone, here's the template for me to become a middle class business owner, right? To be a middle class kind of person, and to get to where I don't look at the price of groceries. Like, that is what I consider to be success. Like, that is good enough. Like I said, I could pay cash to put tires on my car. I'm not talking about balling out of control and driving Lambos and things like that. I'm just talking about a normal middle class living. I thought I'd give you guys some stats on what it takes to become a small business owner, what it takes to get a channel YouTube on YouTube monetized, some of the stats that it takes to just go from small beginnings to something that's, like I said, I think is fairly respectable and is a good message and a good example for other people in how to get somewhere in life without being the perfect path, right? Because truth is, we all kind of make mistakes. I think everyone, a lot of people think that you have to follow the perfect path in order to be successful. I'm here to tell you guys, it can be a ping pong zone, and you can literally, hit every bumper on the way and still get there, provided you do a few important things as you're moving through life. Like, it's really important that while you're going through the ping pong of life, right, that you're still kind of got your eye on the prize. And if you can do that, like, again, anybody can make it, guys. Anybody can do what it is that I did, which is literally go from a double wide trailer in the middle of nowhere in Corvallis, Oregon, to where I live now and what I do now. It's a small business owner, right? Guy makes furniture, right? Just make furniture. It's not like I founded a tech company or I got some great app that I put on the internet. It's literally just a small business that builds furniture, right? We got 8 employees. We do a small 7 figures in revenue. And again, I think anyone can do this, So that's what we're going to talk about today in the stream. We're going to talk about how you guys can start a small business, how you can go from, again, having nothing to having what I consider to be a modest middle class living, right? Where, again, I don't worry about groceries. I don't worry about putting tires on my car. Like, that's what I consider to be success, and I think that's okay, So anyway, if you're in the stream today, that's what we're going to talk about. Hit the like button. So my name's Eric Wilk, and I own the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small furniture business. We got about 8 employees. We do a small 7-figure revenue. We move about 500 pieces a year. It's a good middle class living, and again, we go to work every day. It's a lot of work. I work probably 60 to 70 hours a week, and I've done it my entire life. And this, I believe, is the key to making it in life. And you get a lot of people, they don't want to work a ton, or they said, I shouldn't have to work 40 hours a week. And again, I'm here to tell you guys that, like, it's much more difficult than that. You got to change your perspective on what it means to work, right? You got to choose to do something that is valuable and value added to other people. You can't just constantly, go from job to job to job to job to job, So again, let's start the story. I want you guys to understand that, again, you don't have to be the perfect person, guys. Like, you don't have to follow this perfect path. And if you're one of these people that went to college, like, you can change. Like, there's time to do the thing that is going to get you to where, again, you don't have to worry about the price of groceries, right? Which is what I call middle class, So let's go to the comments real quick, say hi to everyone, and then we'll get after it, okay? We're going to start in Corvallis, Oregon. All right, so Vic Seeks, piece 3191, okay, your inspiring thought for an upcoming week. My thought for inspiring for an upcoming week is essentially get out there and do something. Get out there and do something new. Try something new. How many people get to do something for the first time, right? Here's the thing, guys. When you get older, it's very difficult to do something for the first time. Extremely difficult. So that'd be my inspiring thought. Go try something new. I don't know if it's super helpful, but anyway, let's get on with it. So again, my name is Eric Wilk. I own the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. It's a furniture company. I'm gonna tell you guys how you can do this thing, tell you guys my story so that you kind of understand that, again, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to graduate high school. I didn't graduate high school yet. Somehow figured this thing out. You're in the stream today, hit the like button. And this is what I talk about on this channel. I talk about current events. I talk about small business. I talk about making furniture. And again, I show you guys, if you go on the Modern Woodrunner channel, you guys subscribe to it, you'll see me building CNC routers, making credenzas, how I employ people, how I fire people, how we paint things, how we do all kinds of things as a real small business here in St. Louis, Missouri that makes real American furniture with real American products, right? We're not one of these people that outsources everything to the third world, or I don't just hire a bunch of people off the internet to do work, right? We actually make real physical products, which is wildly difficult, guys. And I think it's very valuable to hear from someone who actually makes a real physical product in America. It can be done. So, all right, let's get after it. So we got more people in here. Baton Rouge is in here. Baton Rouge, good to see you, dude. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. So growing up, I grew up in Corvallis, Oregon. I had a very, like I said, very humble kind of upbringing. My stepdad hurt his back. He had to go get a job. He had to go back to school. So he went back to school, got a drafting degree, got this drafting degree, and then learned to make furniture through magazines, like Woodshop magazine and Popular Woodworking and all these old school magazines. Woodsmith was another one. Learned how to build furniture. Well, he built a desk. He built one desk. And he put it in the, it was like the public school administration building in Corvallis, Oregon. He put that desk in there, and it sat there for a while. And after about, I want to say it was like 6 months, he got one order for one of those desks. And again, it's very basic desk. You had a laminate top, classic oak, right? Everyone kind of remembers that old oak finish that's on everything from the 80s. And anyway, he put that desk in there and finally got a sale. Well, that one desk turned into a career that lasted 25 years of building furniture, right? So he built furniture. So I come into the picture, my mom meets him, right? This wasn't my dad, this was my stepdad, right? So again, my dad wasn't in the picture after about, I want to say it was like year 3, right? So then she meets this other guy, Kelly. Kelly then becomes my stepdad. He's making furniture. He's not, super successful. He's making probably 20 grand a year. He's making just enough to survive. My mom, meets him. She has a job in accounting, right? She's doing the accountant thing. And so these two get together, and then I am in the picture now, and again, he has to deal with me. I got a stepdad. We're living out in the middle of nowhere. He's got this little furniture company. Mom drives into work every day, okay? So this is a very familiar story, I would think, with most people, especially like you're a product of the 90s like I am. I consider us to be 90s kids. But anyway, so we had this very little kind of humble business there, and as I'm growing up, again, I got to go stain furniture, or maybe I'm going to go sand furniture, right? Or maybe I'm going to go sweep the shop, or I'm doing these little tiny, whatever little kid jobs. There's nothing like major going on. Well, that fast forwards into where I get older, right? We leave him because he's an abusive drunk, loves drugs, loves the excesses of life, which, fuck, man, who doesn't? I love the excesses of life. Everybody loves this stuff, but it just became intolerable. So Mom ends up leaving him. This is like when we're 10, 11, 12. And again, go back into the city. Now we're living in an apartment, right? So live in an apartment, go to the school thing, all these kind of things. I get around the wrong people. And so there starts to be conflict in the home where, again, my friends don't get along with my mom doesn't get along with my friends, I'm not getting along with my mom, and it just turns into a bad situation. Mom moves to Wichita, Kansas. And again, we're in Corvallis, Oregon at this point. Moves to Wichita, Kansas, and I didn't want to go. I wasn't going to go to Wichita, Kansas, So she moves there. I stay. I start living with my friends. So I'm bouncing around from friend group to friend group to friend group, living in people's houses, sleeping on their couches, all this kind of. And again, I think it's a fairly familiar story because this would have been in the 90s, right? So Broken Home, the freaking Papa Roach song, it's literally what it is. And so anyway, so I haven't even really started the woodworking career that ultimately got me to where I am, right? I haven't done any of that. And guys, I'll get in the comments. Just let me finish my little story here, and we'll get into the comments, and I'll continue on my story. I want to get out of Oregon, right? Because again, I got to get out of Oregon to start the woodworking thing. The thing that actually gets me to where I am in life, I haven't even started yet, right? So 12 years old, I'm moving around to different friend groups. Well, fast forward to 15, 16, same thing. I'm just moving around. Finally, I drop out of high school. I just can't sit there. I can't do anything. So I start working fast food jobs, right? In Corvallis, little tiny Corvallis, Oregon. Start doing these fast food jobs. There's a place called Bob's Burgers, which was, whatever. I'm flipping burgers, I'm doing whatever the menial work is. I start hooking up with all the staff there and the assistant managers and all that kind of stuff. I'm living kind of the fun, free kind of life. And again, don't have a lot of money, but it's this life of, I think, normal upbringing. You're just bouncing around trying to figure things out. Well, that didn't end up working out for me. I ended up moving to Wichita, Kansas, where my mom had moved years earlier. So I go there, and again, I don't have a woodworking background. I'm not into woodworking yet, right? So I work for Walmart, right? I work for a movie theater, right? I'm just kind of bouncing around from idea to idea to idea. And eventually I'm like, okay, well, this isn't going to work, right? So now I'm 18, 19 years old. I finally got my first apartment when I was 18, and again, I'm not doing anything with my life, nothing, okay? I didn't graduate high school. I'm just going from job to job, doing the thing. Well, I moved back to Oregon. And I think, I'm going to try this again. Well, my stepdad, right, the guy that my mother ended up divorcing, who was very abusive, loved the excesses of life. He gets in a shit ton of trouble. And somehow I get in the mix. I don't remember how we got in contact, but I ended up helping him get out of jail, right? So he lost his license, he lost a whole bunch of things. So I ended up being the guy that was kind of driving him around and helping him to kind of go from place to place to place and helping him go to court. I mean, all these kind of things. And I only was able to do it because I was just I mean, honestly, guys, I was just loose cannon. I just didn't have any direction in life. I was just going from job to job. And anyway, point is that I started helping him work out in his shop again, right? Because he had the woodworking business. So now I'm like 19, 20 years old, somewhere there. And I'm starting to help him, again, go back to staining, go back to sanding. The thing that I was doing when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I'm going back and I'm starting to help him do this work, right? Well, then now he's letting me cut materials, right? So he's giving me cut lists. He's teaching me to cut out face frame material out of oak, how to use a planer, right? So I'm cutting out face frame material, I'm planing wood down, I'm learning to make things straight using a joiner. Like, I'm learning the kind of the basics. I'm not building anything yet, right? I'm running things through sanders, all this basic stuff. Well, turns out I got to help him some more with all of his court stuff. So he's still got issues with court, okay? So helping him get through his divorce. There was like spousal abuse kind of, I mean, really kind of rough stuff, guys, if I'm being completely honest. But he's teaching me things. And again, I'm living out with him in the middle of nowhere again. And we're figuring this thing out together, right? His business is picking up just a little bit. He's getting his life back together. And it's good for me. I'm learning some skills. And now he starts letting me build things, okay? So he's having me build these desks, right? The very first desk that he put in that building at the public school, or excuse me, the public school administration building, has turned into years of him selling these desks every year. And this turned into bookcases. It turned into all kinds of office furniture, credenzas, like front entryway cabinets, and just a myriad of like office type furniture. And it's all made of oak. The only thing that works is oak, right? Everything's oak at this point. So I'm learning how to like put face frames together, and I'm learning how to attach face frames to carcasses, and I'm learning how to make bookcases and learning the structure of furniture. You know, the face frame is the front structure, the back is obviously the back structure and the strongest part of a cabinet, you know, but I'm just learning all these things. Well, 9/11 happens, right? So in between this period where I'm like 19 to say 21, 22, kind of somewhere there. I forget when 9/11, it was like 2001. What happens is that I'm learning all these skills, right? And I'm starting to really get to become like a cabinet maker. Like, I'm learning, I know how to use all the equipment. I'm starting to put together the face frames, the carcasses, attaching things together, doing the finish work, helping on deliveries, right? And do all stuff. And again, at the same time, guys, like me and Kelly, because Kelly is a guy of excess, I become a guy of excess, right? So we're dropping a fifth of Crown every night. We're, pounding half cases of Widmer, Hefeweizen beer. I mean, he's doing whippets and marijuana and stuff like that. And again, I'm not into any of that stuff. That wasn't my thing, but I loved alcohol. I loved Crown Royals. Like, it's still a drink of mine that I just love. But for whatever reason, I didn't have what Kelly had, right? I didn't need the excess. Like, I enjoy drinking, but we'd be in the wood shop at midnight, a fifth of Crown deep, running router bits and cutting through table saw. So I basically learned to work drunk, and it didn't bother me one bit. I wasn't any unsafer. I've never been injured. I just learned to work in this state of perpetual inebriation, or whatever the word is. Like, it was just like you started drinking at like noon and you just didn't stop all day. You had your coffee in the morning, and I learned this for years. Well, so 9/11 happens, right? 9/11 happens and the economy crashes, right? It slows down. Everyone's freaking out. No one knows what to do. All the municipalities, fire departments, police departments, the school districts, all these people that were basically giving Kelly money every year to make new office furniture, to make stuff for City Hall, for the police department, school, all these places, it dried up completely. Kelly goes bust, right? So after that, this would have been like October. Like, I decide I'm going to sign up for the military. Like, I'm going to go fight terrorists. I'm going to go kick ass. The business isn't working. Like, I'm not going to be able to get paid anymore. Kelly's in trouble. He's going to have to go find a new job. I mean, everything is crumbling down. So I'm like, let's go kill some terrorists. I sign up for the Army. I go to the Army. They're going to make me a light wheel mechanic. I'm going to go whatever. I didn't know that I was going to go to Iraq at that point, but I kind of figured that that's where we would end up going. And so I sign up, and I'm going up to Portland, Oregon, and I got to go through MEPS, right? I got to go make sure that I'm physically good to go. I go through all that stuff, and I have to do this thing called duck walking, which is like you squat down real deep, and you have to do this kind of little walking thing. And they saw that I had some looseness in one of my knees, so they're like, you know what, man, we can't take you. Like you're not going to make it through basic, and it's probably going to become a degenerative thing. It's going to get, it's going to get aggravated and become a problem. So they end up telling me, no, you can't go to the military. So I'm like, well, fuck, man. Like, what do I do now? Like, I got can't go to the military. I can't do the woodworking thing. I'm living in the middle of nowhere, but I got like 3 or 4 years of good woodworking experience. I'd done just a ton of laminate work. So what I did is Yahoo was becoming a big thing, right? So this kind of the 2001, 2002 era. Yahoo's this big thing. So you can like date on there. There's a lot of job boards. There's a lot of like chatting back and forth with people. Like AOL Messenger was a big one. You also had Yahoo Messenger. Like everyone had a Messenger app. So I responded to an ad that was on Yahoo that was looking for people that knew how to work with laminate. And I was like, well, that's kind of odd, So, and it was also in Wichita, Kansas, right? And I'm like, man, my mom moved there. I lived there for a little bit. So I replied to this ad to build furniture for jets, right? And it was all laminate work. So they responded. They're like, you've done laminate work? Great. We want anybody that has laminate work. I'm like, well, hey, man, I live in Oregon. They're like, well, hey, if you want to drive here, we'll give you a job. And they did. So I packed up all my shit. I had $750. I remember it was my last paycheck. $750. I had a little tiny Mazda Miata. I had a guitar and a computer that I built. And I threw all that shit in my car along with all the clothes. It's a Mazda Miata, guys. A little Mazda Miata. And I drove to Wichita, Kansas, okay? So anyway, that's where I'm at, right? So I'm going to give you guys my story here. And again, if you guys are in the comments, thanks. I appreciate it. Again, if you want to listen to me talk about this, how I went from living in a double-wide trailer to living on the bluffs overlooking the Mississippi here. Again, and happy to show you guys my home. Like, go on my videos, you guys will see where I live. Like I said, it's a big deal to me that I did this for myself. So okay, let's see here. So Vic, I got your question. We got Andrew Hagdorn. Good to see you, dude. Okay, Baton Rouge, Adam, good to see you, dude. Area 51, aliens, you stink. Okay, love the lamp. I know everyone loves the lamp. It's a staple. I'm gonna get some more lamp stuff. I've actually got a new camera, guys, so I'll be able to get a wide-angle lens on everything instead of using my phone. And you guys will get a bigger picture of kind of what's going on here. You see this beautiful, I will show you guys, this beautiful little, I don't know what we call it, diamond front credenza that I built. So that we've never sold, we've never listed it. Like, how many pieces of furniture have I made in my life that I'll never get sold, right? That my wife will never try and sell because they're too difficult to reproduce in a quick fashion. So, okay, this is Nicodiff, bro. Doesn't need AI, just pure dog shit for the love of the game. Okay, man. Okay, providing some pure dog shit. Okay, cool, man. So this is Nicodiff. So you guys are the stream, hit the like button, have discussion. I'll go through comments real quick. And again, I'm in Oregon. I just got a little bit of woodworking skill, and now I'm going to Wichita, Kansas, where I'm going to go work in aerospace, right? Because again, you got to put cabinets in jets, right? So I had no idea where I was going, but it led to me basically working for the Boeing Defense Center, which is where all of the most secretive planes in the world are. And this is the thing that kind of catalyzed, maybe not catalyzed is what I'm looking for. It became a springboard for me to go work anywhere in the world on any project that dealt with aviation. So. Okay, let's see, half hawk, half man. Great name, man, I love your name. Okay, would you agree that a society can only achieve greatness when generations of elders are willing to plant trees under the shade for which they never live long enough to see it? Yes, and that's very important. And again, we don't have that today. Again, when you have election cycles that run 2 to 4 years, how can you plant a seed that's gonna last 50 years? How are you gonna plant a seed that's gonna last 100 years? And again, I didn't want to make this thing about politics, but if you guys want to talk about politics a little bit, I'm happy to do that. But today I'm trying to do something that's a little bit more uplifting, and I think someone that comes from nothing, again, it's kind of cliche to say, I came from nothing, now I'm a billionaire, now I'm a millionaire, okay? I'm not a millionaire, I'm not a billionaire, but I did come from nothing, and I grew it to where I could be a nice place to live. I got a nice life, I'm happy with my life, and I employ people, and what I really do now is I teach people how to do shit, and I think that's the calling for me at this point. Again, I'm never going to be rich, but I don't care about the cost of groceries, so that's kind of where I leave it. So, okay, let's see, fish scale 405. My wife hates that lamp. She's just jealous. So hell yeah, man. No woman likes this lamp. Again, why the fuck do you think it's down here in my little man cave, right? Like what? No woman likes it, especially the fishnet. Holy cow! I can't even get my wife to put on fishnet just for fun. All right, he has a human skin leg lamp. Yep. All right, Cowboy Troy's here. Good to see you, dude. Moving out of Houston in a week, heading back to God's country, Tyler, Texas. All right, man. Cowboy Troy, man, I appreciate being here, dude. Like I said, I get a lot of people in here that have been in here for a long time. I've been really doing this hardcore for about 3 weeks now, like most of the month of February. And it's certainly where I got a lot of people that come in here and contribute to the conversation and have back and forth with people. And again, I like to know what you guys do. I like to know who you are, at least as much detail as you want to give. I put a lot of my life out on the internet because it's just something that I chose to do, so I appreciate all you people. Okay, Houston's, man, I thought Houston was booming. Like from what I heard, I deliver not a ton of furniture to Houston. Most of my furniture goes to Austin and Dallas, right? Those kind of two places. But San Antonio and Houston, not so much. But every now and again we send stuff to Houston. Okay, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your. Okay, again, okay. So Nico Differ, you're just gonna spam the same thing. Okay. This is Cowboy Troy says, I'm going to tell you as well, I spent 4 years running production for a cabinet manufacturing. Interesting stuff. Yeah, and again, I think that's very interesting. Like, it's, I tell you guys all the time, like, and again, Cowboy Troy, I have a similar story I'll probably get to on more high production environments and working in shops with a lot more equipment and a lot more people, a lot more automation and stuff like that. Ultimately, I started a company that had none. I started a company that has everything's handmade. Everything is made by one person, makes one cabinet, right? That's how I started this business. And I'm learning that I can do a version of that, but I have to move into the production side as well, because as a business owner, you can't live on one revenue stream. Like, you got to have multiple revenue streams, and it's wildly important. So I'll talk about the stuff as we go on. So anyway, but Cowboy Troy, I'm curious how that, we'll have to talk more about that, because I like to know how people do. I never worked for like a typical production furniture company, like, like a Theodore Alexander or a Century or a Hickory Chair. It was always aerospace, like Boeing, Cessna, Hawker Beechcraft, Gulfstream, companies like that. So, all right, let's see. I just had okay, great. This is a Vin Pleska. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. You might need to have a better diet or try exercising. Running really helps. Like, I find running and coffee fixes everything in your life. If I'm being completely honest. Okay, save in, which discovered that. Okay, cool. Got you guys. You guys are putting in good stuff. I appreciate it. Bro bought a mic on Amazon. Never stopped talking since. Okay, well, this is a Rode mic. It's actually a pretty good mic, but I guess they probably sell it on Amazon. Okay, Christian Ben Wiesen. All right, 852. When you decide to take that second, all right for the day. Okay, I would rather live in Afghanistan than Kansas. Okay, well, that's okay. I can't, like, people talk a lot of smack on Kansas. Kansas is a great place to live. Like, I hate to tell you guys this, but if you're one of these people that wants to be able to afford life on a middle class living, Kansas is great. Like, Wichita, Kansas is the aerospace capital of the world, believe it or not. There's more aerospace work there than anywhere else in America. And the homes are cheap, the land is cheap. They have everything there, by the way. If you want to go watch movies, you want to eat food, you want to buy clothes, you want to buy cars, it's all there. But there's no views. There's nothing super spectacular to view, but there's something beautiful about living someplace that has a lot of prairie, because you get great view of the sunrise, right? The sunset, like, all these things are kind of nice, that's something. But yeah, I wouldn't talk shit on Kansas at all. I would consider putting cabinets in airplanes, technically aerospace. Okay, well, again, Christian, man, I did a lot of different work in aerospace, so I can go into some of that as well. Like I said, I started in cabinets. I ended in engineering, right? I ended in being a design engineer. I ended doing bombs and auditing. I ended doing a lot of other things, So that's, again, part of the story, guys. Like, you guys need to understand that just because you do one thing doesn't mean you do it forever, right? You can actually go a lot of places in your life if you're just around. And this is one of the things that I tell everybody all the time. Like, you actually have to do something, and you have to do it a lot to get really good, especially if you're not educated, right? Especially if you don't have a lot of opportunity, if you're not the best of the best, if you're just a normal person. The only tool you guys really have is just being there a lot and being very consistent. That's really what it boils down to. So, okay, let's see. Girly Orbs in here. Girly Orbs, good to see you. Eggs, okay. We got Joe Mama. Joe Mama 7260. Did you get your FAA cabinet and counter installation license? No, there's no such thing, dude. Everything you put into a plane has to be certified, right? And if you guys want to talk about how aerospace really works, guys, why aerospace is so safe, it's because everything that goes onto an airplane is certified from the ore that is taken out of the earth, right? So the reason that aerospace costs so much money, right? Planes are $50 million, $150 million, is because you literally have to know where every single component comes from, right? Every single component has to have certification, and it has to have certification from what they call the source, right? So a lot of people don't understand, like, it's just a very technical business to be in, which is why it's so safe. Because the minute you get a couple of planes going down, suddenly everyone doesn't want to fly anymore, and guess what? Your economy's crushed. Because, I mean, we fly everywhere. We damn near fly more than we drive, if I'm being completely honest. Like, so anyway, all right. It's Christian Med Wide 852. I consider myself a master electrician. I could replace batteries in a smoke detector. That's interesting. Okay, Christian Med. So again, like Christian, like I appreciate coming back and I appreciate your contribution to the conversation. But again, what are you doing here? Like you just gonna talk shit? Like tell us what you've done. Tell us your experience, right? Tell us if you're a master electrician. Are you just being a goof? I mean, are you one of these people that like gets? Do you just this is how you get your kind of jollies off? Is just kind of throwing dumb comments, like to see other people react to your stuff? Like go do something, man. Go be somebody. You know, it's a lot of people want to do this kind of stuff. So, all right, you stole Tater's lamb. Hell yeah, man. All right, Stephen M. Okay, who's this? Delavin P8XCY. I don't know what shit. Did you ever get outreach to by a marketing agency? All the time, guys. Again, I get headhunters calling me constantly. I get marketing agencies calling me. I mean, it's never ending. So, all right, let's see. Stephen M. Okay, good. Appreciate all your thumbs. Biggles 8894. Wow, this guy's AI but looks real. Okay, Baton Rouge, kind of tired of the traders. The trades grift when the U.S. needs is manufacturing, not trades. And again, yeah, I talk about this a lot, Baton. I constantly, like everyone, again, the minute the college thing has failed, right, suddenly it's like, oh, the trades. Now we're gonna do the trades. And then you got Harvard talking about, oh, we're going to teach people trades, right? We're going to teach people to be electricians, welders, right? We're going to talk about, they always talk about the welders, they talk about the electricians and the plumbers. Like these are the only trades that exist, you know? And again, I'm going to tell you guys, there's a million trades that exist, but a lot of them operate inside of a manufacturing environment, you know, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you guys to think that an electrician makes $150,000 a year. And they want you to think that a welder makes $150,000 a year. And if you do that, you're going to make $150,000 a year. And I'm here to tell you guys, like, none of that's true. Like, that's true for the best of the best. But here's the thing, guys. Anyone that's the best of the best makes the top dollar amount. Electricians are going to start at 50, 60 grand a year. Like, I hate to tell you this. You're basically going to be an assistant. You're going to be the guy running the truck, grabbing fucking wire and grabbing terminals. And that's what you're going to be doing. And you can make $150,000 a year as a master electrician, as a journeyman electrician or welder after you put in the time. But they never tell you that it's going to take you time to get there, right? And if you're really good at it, you can compress the amount of time. But again, most people are average. I talk in the law of averages because I'm as average as it gets. Hell, I'm below average. And I'm here to tell you guys that it takes a lot of time to get to where I am. And unfortunately, it's just, there's no fast way to do it, guys. There's just no way. But what Batten is saying is that manufacturing is the thing that will give you guys the skills that you need to go out and make a lot of money. But nobody wants to talk about working in a factory, right? They think it's a dirty place where the retarded people work and the people that are not intelligent and the part of the people that couldn't get the college degree. This is where you guys are gonna be left to work. And I'm here to tell you guys that I've made six figures a lot of my life working in a factory. And again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I never graduated high school, and I bought my first home when I was 21. I've always had nice homes. I had a famous home called the Fraser House. Google it. Like, dumb guy building furniture owned a famous house where Gene Hackman made movies, where John Frankenheimer made movies, where Deborah Kerr and Burt Lancaster made movies. I mean, I got old contracts from where, you know, MGM signed on to use the house in movies called the Gypsy Moths. Like, it's just like, you guys can do this stuff. You don't have to follow this path. So anyway, Bat, I appreciate I'm not going to go on it too much. But yeah, there's a lot of manufacturing work out there that's really good. That's why I tell people, if you're one of these people coming out of high school, like before you get out of high school, go find a career, man. You're not a loser because you go to an HVAC company and say, hey, I'm getting out of high school here pretty soon. I need a job. You know, be one of these people that goes to summer school. Like, where are the fucking people that work in summer jobs? Like, I don't understand, like, why we don't have more kids working summer jobs at the grocery store, working at the at the furniture factory, right? Working at the ice cream stand, like doing all this kind of work. I don't see a lot of this today, and we need to bring that back. So anyway, don't want to dwell on it, but great comment, Patton. Okay, oh, fantastic. All right, make it through comments. Okay, we're gonna get back to our story. Okay, Nico Diff has all the great comments. See what you got here. Everyone on the stage always mentions vague famous people to make themselves feel like they did something with their lives. No, and again, it's not about famous people, dude. It's about doing something over a long period of time. The problem is that young people only care about the highlights, right? They only care about the famous things. They only care about the Lambos and the Ferraris. They don't have perspective. As you get older in life, you realize, like, oh my God, I did all this cool shit. You know, young people think that it's going to happen like that. They don't realize that it took 20 or 30 years to tell that story. You know, so young people just don't have the perspective, and that's why I'm telling the story to you guys. Okay, I did respond to a message I didn't see. Again, I don't know if you responded, dude. I didn't see any message from you. I don't know where you sent me this message. But Delavin, I appreciate it. Again, keep trying. I didn't see anything. So okay. So anyway, so we're into Kansas, right? So going into Kansas from Corvallis, Oregon, right? I had to move literally to the middle of the country where I went to work for this business called Baumhoff, right? Baumhoff was looking for people who had to work with laminate. Baumhoff is, they're making Bombardier cabinets. So the company Bombardier is a private jet manufacturer. They're a multinational conglomerate. They make tons of things like rail cars, Polaris watercraft and four-wheelers and snowmobiles and all kinds of shit. But anyway, they, rail cars, I don't know if I said that. They make rail cars, guys, like interesting company. But they also do private jets. But anyway, so we're making interiors for this. I'm learning all about working with woods like Babinga and zebra wood and learning about composites, you know, what are called honeycomb sandwich panels, working with Kevlar. Starting to learn all kinds of really cool shit, but I'm working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week because the economy is booming in the jet industry. Even though 9/11 just happened, the jet industry is on fire. Because here's the thing, guys, wealthy people are always spending money, constantly. It doesn't matter if you're in a recession, it doesn't matter if you're in boom times. They're always buying stuff, guys. So what I tell you guys as business owners, people that want to get into business, right? You want to become a t-shirt manufacturing company? Good luck. You know, you need to cater to the wealthy people because, again, they're always buying, guys. It's just kind of how it goes. So anyway, I'm going there, and again, 3 months into working there, guess what? The company gets bought, right? So the company is called Baumhoff. It gets bought by a company called Nordam, right? Nordam is a even larger multinational parts provider, and they get bought up. They lay off everybody, and they bring back the people that they want. And again, I've been there for 3 months, had to prove myself, and no one knows the fuck I am, and so they laid me off right away. So again, I just moved to Kansas, and my mom's there, which is awesome. But again, I got no job. You know, again, 9/11 shut everything down. I had to move to Kansas. Kansas says, hey, we're going to give you a job. They lay me off immediately. So I applied to another job, right? And this is I was working for a company called Global Engineering and Technology. Great company. Taught me a lot of things. Never paid me nothing. Their 401k sucked. Their health benefits sucked. But again, it was a job. It was an opportunity. So I took that job. And again, now I'm building little tiny Jeppesen cabinets. I'm building little tiny divan cabinets. And this turns into where, again, now I'm really starting to learn how to work with different kinds of aerospace products like honeycomb sandwich panels. I'm learning how to bend metal. I'm learning how paint works. Like I'm learning all kinds of different things. And what happens is that I'm working 12 hours a day again, guys. I go from working with my stepdad where we're just, you know, chugging Crown Royal and working till midnight every night. Again, working lots from early in the morning to late at night, you know, grinding it out constantly, not making a ton of money, but learning a ton, guys. And I'm staying consistent with what is I'm in. Now that I'm finally helping my stepdad out, right, that slows down. Well, then I go back into woodworking. I'm going into another business, but I'm in a different area. So I was doing cabinets and furniture to now I'm doing aerospace, right? So aerospace is then going to lead me back into cabinets and furniture after a little while. But the thing is that I'm learning all these different skills. So what I'm learning is that when I work with a lot of people want to do the same thing every day. And again, this is where I can start to lose people because it sounds kind of like I'm being a dick, but most people just want to do the same thing every day, guys. And there's nothing wrong with that. Businesses need people that want to do the same thing every day. But my problem was that as I got ADHD like a motherfucker, and I just didn't want to do the same thing every day. You know, so I built something, I'd get it done, and I'd say, well, what else you got? And they'd say, well, here, we got the same thing for it. And I'd be like, man, you got anything else? And it became to where I became one of these people that would just work on all different kinds of projects, right? I'd love to bounce around. I love the chaos. I loved when engineering didn't work. I loved when I didn't have parts, when I'd have to go make things. Like a lot of people really like having their work brought to them, and they like doing the same thing over and over again. And again, I love those kind of people as a business owner because that means that the people that do want to have the opportunities, that do want to do stuff, I got stuff for them to do too. You know, so again, those people don't, you guys see how this works? Like you need people that want to do the same thing every day, and you need people that like chaos. Both people it takes to run a business. So anyway, so I become that guy. Well, what happens is I worked for this company for 11 years, guys, and everyone bitches about healthcare. Everyone cries about not having a 401k. Let me tell you how it was back in my day, okay? Boomer Eric talking again. I'm not a boomer, but I started out working $10 an hour. That's what I was making when I first started working there, right? I ended up, when I left that company 11 years later, I think I made $20. So I got a $10 raise in 11 years, okay, working for this company. But again, and I'm working 60, 70 hours a week. Tons of overtime. You know, some have great paychecks. I can afford homes. I can afford BMWs. I can afford nice cars at the time, but I still have to work all the overtime. Without the overtime, guys, I could not have done this. It would not have worked. But because there was always so much overtime, because I could work as much as I want, because I could make anything, I could do anything, there was always work for Eric, right? Even when it got slow, they'd have Eric come in and do things. Eric would work Saturday. Eric would work Sunday. Eric would work holidays. Eric would work whenever, right? And this is wildly important. And I don't know that people do this enough today. Again, I hear a lot of people saying they're hardworking, and I hear a lot of people, saying, oh God, I'm the guy that does the best job. I'm the guy that volunteers for everything. I just can't seem to get ahead, right? So I did this for 11 years, and I technically didn't get ahead. Nobody gave me money, right? The 401k, we started up doing 3% of our income in the 401k at the very beginning, right? They automatically enroll you into these programs. Well, they changed the 401k over the years, right? And different providers, different people managing it, so on and so forth. Well, by the time I left there, this will blow your mind, guys. 11 years in my 401k, I had, I think it was almost $11,000. No money. My company didn't match at all, right? They were matching I think the 3% of the first 0.5%. It was like some wild double number equation where they basically didn't put anything in it. So I made no money. And again, the money I was making wasn't great at all either. But because I worked so much overtime and because I was so good at things, I got to volunteer for everything. And again, people say, oh, the employer's taking advantage of you. Oh, you're being fucked over by your employer. Okay. And I'm here to tell you guys that I never thought that way. Not once. Not once did I think that way. I loved the fact that I got to work 60, 70 hours a week because I loved the work. And again, you could say, oh, Eric's dumb. He never graduated high school. He didn't know any better. He's a great wagey. He's what all employers want. I'm here to tell you guys that that's not how it worked out. It's not how I see it, right? What I see is that I got to learn 60 to 70 hours faster every week than everybody else, which is why I'm where I'm at today, right? So working all those hours, again, I was able to have a family, able to buy houses, able to buy cars, able to go on vacation, able to do anything I wanted to, put money in the 401k. I was able to do all these kind of things, work at all these hours. Again, people hate it when you tell them this. They're like, oh, I'm grinding, I'm working my ass off. I'm here to tell you guys that you have to do it for a very long time. This is what I had to do. I had to do it constantly, okay? So I finally wised up and I realized, okay, I'm not getting paid. I did learn all these things, okay? The other things I got to do in this company is I got to start my engineering career and I got to start my planning career. Meaning I got to learn how AutoCAD works. I got to learn how CATIA works. I got to learn how SolidWorks works, right? And if you go and you guys do some research on these CAD programs, these are all the big programming design software that all the aerospace company use, all the architectural company use, all the nautical industry uses. Wildly valuable. And now I use this in my company today, okay? So you guys see what I'm doing? I'm kind of stair-stepping how I ended up having a business and how I ended up being so, what's the word I'm looking for? Being in this higher echelon of furniture makers, right? This higher echelon of furniture companies, right? And so it's, the steps are all there, starting out with Kelly, moving to Kansas, getting into aerospace, okay? Getting the opportunity by grinding it out 60, 70 hours a week to get into engineering, right? To be the guy that can make anything, right? To be the guy that's then going to go into planning and learn how to audit, right? And auditing is going to teach me about managing costs, right? It's going to teach me about finding, where the holes are in my system, right? To look for problems first, okay? So let's go into comments real quick. I'm sure I got tons of people that are just in here right now. They just love hearing about Eric talking about people don't work hard enough. Okay, here we are. So did you, let's see, I want to go into, let's go to the last, comment here from, who is this, Delovian? So, no ABT marketing. Again, I don't know what you mean by ABT marketing, dude. Okay, how would you dream for your dream marketing agency to outreach to you? Okay, so here's, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so this is Delovin PE8XY. Okay, good question. All right, how would you dream for your dream marketing agency to reach out to you? Okay, so again, I've done this many times. Okay, here's the thing with marketing agencies, guys. What a lot of marketing agencies, I'm going to get to your question, dude. I'm going to ask you how it works right now. I'm going to tell you why it doesn't work, okay? The reason, the way the system works now is a lot of these guys, they just blast you with emails, right? They blast you with media through Instagram, through Facebook, all these kind of things. Especially if you own a business, you get blasted with all this kind of shit. The other thing they do is they constantly robocall you, right? They robocall you. They call you at least 2 or 3 times a week with some bullshit call about something. Oh, wait for so-and-so to get on the line. Like a lot of that kind of stuff, okay? The thing with marketing agencies is what they're looking for is they're looking for you to pay them to offer you hope, right? Like, oh God, pay us. We're going to grow your sales 5x. We're going to give you this solution. We're going to give you that solution. We're going to open you up to this market. We're going to get you these customers. We're going to, find the holes in your marketing strategy, and we're going to fix them. We're going to plug them for you, and it's going to be awesome, right? The problem with marketing agencies, and if you want to know why I don't use them and I haven't used them, even though we've tried, is that they have no skin in the game, right? At the end of the day, if you want to sell somebody to something, if you want to sell something to somebody else, you have to have skin in the game, and they have to have skin in the game. So when I started marketing, or when I talk to a marketing company, right, they tell me they're going to, sell my product, they're going to grow my business, right? They promise you the world, right? But they're very obtuse about where the end point is, right? Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to convince you to give them money every month for the building of a marketing strategy, right? Because it takes time for marketing to work. What they won't do, and here's the problem, dude, is that they have no guarantee, right? And what do I mean by guarantee? What I mean by guarantee is if I say to the marketing agency, okay, great, I'm going to give you $5,000 a month, right? You're going to run ads on Google, and then you are going to bring me customers. You're going to get my product out to more people, okay? I will pay you based on the metrics that then come into my social media, that then come into my Shopify, that then come into my Square, that come in on the back end of my webpage, right? I will pay you based on those metrics. No marketing agency is going to do that. They, like everybody, they want to get paid up front, okay? And this is the problem with marketing agencies. And again, if a marketing agency came to me, right, with this marketing strategy, they know my product, they know my business, they've, curated this great opportunity just for me. When I say, great, you get paid when I get paid. No marketing agency is going to do that. And this is why I don't use them. They're not worth it. I tried it one time and it didn't work out. We tried to use Google. It was just a massive failure. And again, I'm just funneling money into these people who they don't know what they're doing. They don't produce a result, right? And if you want to get paid, you got to produce a result. You got to prove you can do what you say you're going to do, and then you get paid. And I hope that helps. That's the problem I have with marketing agencies. They just don't want to do the work, right? They don't want to get paid when I get paid. It's not a symbiotic relationship. It's a parasitic relationship. They want to use the marketing that my wife has done that has grown our business into what it is today. They want to piggyback off of that and then extract money off of me to do, some mediocre job. And you can't have that, So anyway, Delavin, I hope that kind of understands. I hope that kind of explains to you what I'm looking for as a business, right? So if you wanted to send me a marketing strategy, if you wanted to prove that you could do a good job for my business and you wanted to get money out of me, there you go. Like, I'll pay you when I get paid, right? When I got whatever 10% increase in sales because of your marketing strategy, and I can prove that people are coming in from your marketing strategy on my Shopify, on my the back end of my website, on my social media, which we can prove all these metrics, right? All these metrics are easy to analyze. When you can do that, you got my business. All right, Baton Rouge. Okay, not the trades. Again, I appreciate your comment there, Baton. Okay, Solid Soldier. Was this Solid Soldier? Okay, let's see. It's because they are focused on. All right, not sure what's going on. Okay, did you respond to investigate? I took care of you, got you. Okay, I took about your marketing. All right, Solid Soldier. Okay, education leads to money and an easy life. Life isn't that hard unless you are careless in your youth or misled. That's a great comment. I agree with that, guys. But what I'm here to tell you guys is that I was careless in my youth. I didn't graduate high school. I never went to college. And I figured it out. And the only reason I figured it out is because I stuck to what I did. And this is, I don't know if everybody does this. I don't know what they're doing. And what I tell you guys is one of the biggest mistakes that I made is I stayed with the same company for so long and I worked so hard, and it wasn't all for nothing, but I wasn't getting paid what I was worth. Like, every time I would stair step up in this company and I would do more things, there wasn't really much of a paycheck gain. They'd give you raises like, I don't know, like a quarter, or they give you a raise of like 50 cents an hour. And again, when you're going from being the builder to being the engineer, to being in planning, to dealing with OSHA, to dealing with the EPA, all the different things I did in this company, I never got paid for it. And that's on me. That's not on the company. The company simply got me to do stuff for a low wage, right? So once I left after 11 years, it'd be easy to say, oh, this company fucked me and this is bullshit and blah, blah, blah. And I deserve better and these companies are terrible. I didn't look at it that way. I look at it like, you know what? I should have left sooner. And I did. And I went back to the company that laid me off when I first got to Wichita, Kansas, okay? So I went back to Nordam, right, which led me on to end up going to New Zealand, right? So I ended up going abroad. I ended up traveling a little bit, right, for this company. And That's kind of the next story, right? And I haven't even touched on the Boeing Defense Center stuff, right? So I'm going to get into that. So let's finish up comments and we'll continue on with the story. And again, I know people, I don't know if people like this kind of content, but I think it's important that people, again, talk about their story. Like, again, it's a normal dude living just a slightly above average normal life. I don't have the Lambos, and I'm not showing you guys off to, my chateau in Aspen. I don't have any of that shit. But again, normal guy, didn't graduate high school, just followed kind of a path, and it turned out okay. So, all right, what do we got here? This is Jim Fleming's 3975. We don't see as much due to the child labor laws. I think, man, Jim Fleming, like, man, you said a mouthful there, dude. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I think all young people should work. Like, I don't think it's good that we essentially just send everyone to school for the first 18 years of their life. They're learning, and then we send them off for another 4 to 7 years to go do more learning. I think people are growing up way too late. Like, they're becoming. I mean, we technically think of kids in there as being 20-year-olds. I don't see it that way. So Jim, I agree with you 100%. But again, you can't convince people of this. I think most people think that everyone's just being fucked over. And the truth is that people just aren't working. They're not working as hard as they used to. And that's just, again, that's a personal take. I know people hate when I say that, but that's how I see it. I think people need to start working a lot younger and realize what work really is. Work is you providing value for somebody else, right? And then they pay you for it. And the great thing about young people is young people don't need money. Young people don't have kids. Young people don't have house payments. Young people don't have student loans. They can work for next to nothing because honestly, they're not worth jack shit because they don't know anything and they're kids, which is how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to teach them when they're young how to do things. And I don't think we do that today. I think we leave them all in school and it fucks their minds up in a long-term way, and it creates a bunch of people that are entitled. It creates a bunch of people that think that they deserve this, they deserve that, and I just completely disagree. So Jim, I like your comment there. I don't know if you agree with me on the rest of it, but I think you're 100% right. All right, what's the best way to go about reaching you, or what's the best way you feel like you want to get outreach to? Again, like it's an irrelevant question. Like I said, I have a massive presence on the internet. I have 3 or 4 different websites. We've got the Resplendent Crow, we've got Modern Woodworker, we're at Resplendent Home, we've got, 100,000 followers on Instagram, tons of traffic on YouTube, big followings on Facebook. Like I'm not hard to find. And again, as someone who's into research and marketing, you should know that. So that's probably the first thing I would say to you is you need to start asking the right questions. You're still not asking the right questions, by being clear. You're asking very elementary, basic questions. And I think you have the answers to all these questions. So I'm not sure why you're even asking this stuff. First thing in business, right, is know your customer. And so I'll say that thing. If you can't go into a transaction with someone without knowing who you're dealing with, right? So are you dealing with someone that's a decision maker, right? Are you dealing with the owner? Are you dealing with a high-level manager? Are you dealing with an executive? These things are wildly important. People that make decisions, right? You don't want to be dealing with the guy that takes the telephone call. You want to be dealing with the people, that work in the factory, that are the lead on the job. You want to be the people that deal with the money, right? That's the first rule of business. Again, like you think that we take on a job without knowing who our customer is. First thing we do is we analyze everything about them. Where do they live? What's their net worth? Do they own business? Are they married to people that own businesses? Where do they get their money? Are they in finance? Have they bought from us before? We know everything about people before they ever conversate with us, before we ever have a conversation with them, right? And again, as business owners, we have tons of metrics to track who is following our business, who is making contact with us. Like before you even come into my store, I have excuse me, I shouldn't say before you come into my store, when you come into my store, right? I can then track every site that you go to with cookies, right? So my business knows like where you go, and then how do you end up back in my business, right? How do you end up back in my store on the internet? We can track all these things. Like we know the path, how long it took you to convert from a looker to a buyer. Like we know all this information. So yeah, anyway, okay, let's see, Soul Dad Soldier, man, that's actually a good name. Okay, I'm convinced this guy is rambles in his sleep. I ramble all the time, dude. And again, people come in and watch it, and it's great. It's cathartic. Like whatever word you want to use. All right, a Christian band. Okay, you're the one putting your life story on YouTube. If you can't take a joke, grow some skin. Good way to grow your channel. Okay, good. I appreciate it, Christian Wide. We'll come check you out someday. All right, dive on PEX 8XY. What do you average to these companies? How did you outreach to these companies with no experience? How would you go about that? Again, I don't outreach to companies. Companies come to me. Okay, I don't do any of that. Again, I I will actually look for customers. Like that's a different discussion. So if there's like, if there's a customer I want to get my products into, I will research how to get into that customer, right? I will try and be in that person's orbit, whether I got to be in their Instagram, whether I got to be on their Facebook, whether I got to be in the magazines that they read, whether I got to be in the city that they're in, where I got to focus my spending on ads in the area that they're in. Do I got to go to an event they're going to be at? Like there's ways you can target specific kinds of people if you want to, target a specific customer. But generally as businesses, we target demographics of people. We target, in my case, I'm going to target women in their 50s that are white, right? That have high net worth, that live in specific kinds of zip codes, because I know that those people are going to be buyers, right? Those people are going to be qualified buyers, So that's some of the stuff we look for. But yeah, I don't look for research companies. I'm not looking for someone to sell my shit, because the best person to sell my shit is my wife, right? The best person to sell my shit is going to be me, right? The best person to sell my stuff is going to be our business, this platform, YouTube, where we generate this thing. It's called Like, Know, and Trust. So again, you guys want to know all this stuff, like just ask the questions. I'm happy to talk about it. But again, I don't think most people understand any of this, So it's, I don't know that it's even, people want to hear this kind of stuff. Okay, is that the Christmas story lamp? Yes, it is. It's not the lamp. Yes, it is. So this is 81 Rags. So again, it's always in my feed. This is one of the things people know my channel for. And again, I talk about woodworking. I talk about being a business owner. I talk about what it takes to run a manufacturing company, what it talks about to make stuff in America, right? That's what we talk about on this channel. We talk about current events, So, all right, let's see. So it says, who asked? Again, who asked what? I don't know. No one asked anything. I don't talk on my stream because people ask for things. I talk about things on my stream because they're important to me, right? I talk about current events because they're important to me. This is a channel, this is my channel that I talk about things that are important to me, okay? Now, if you guys want to ask questions on the streams, I love to talk to people, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. I'm very open and transparent about it, so. Okay, working is overrated. Okay, dude, nobody knows ADHD in chat. Okay, great. Life is forever. This is Pussyfoot Productions. I'll see you again. Pussyfoot, good to see you back. All right, life is forever. Don't enjoy it. Okay, let's see, get out, enjoy life. Okay, let's see, I'll be over before you know it. Okay, cool, man. We got Cosmic Blackie lamp is really unique. No, it's very common. It's lots of people probably have this lamp, but yeah, I keep it in my stream. People like it. Okay, spiritual awakening, Scorpio, ABT marketing. All right, I scrubbed. So okay, great. Boston's in here. We got Chief Salad TV 6090. Okay, do you play Roller Coaster Tycoon? No, I do not. Boston Bill 21. Boston Bill, subscribe. Thank you. Join the family. Okay. Spiritual Awakening, Roller Coaster Tycoon is so much fun. All right. I don't play games on my phone. Sometimes I'll play StarCraft. I like to play StarCraft on my computer, and I love to play Left 4 Dead on the Xbox. Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead 2. They're freaking great games. Okay, let's just roll. That's a lamp from Christmas Star. Hell yeah, it is. This is, I guess it's supposed to be Bleru or six Leru, whatever. Okay, yeah, it is. I just noticed that. Spiritual Awakening, hope the non-tangible. Okay, hope is non-tangible. Hell yeah, hope's non-tangible. Hope goes a long way, though, man. Like I said, I'm one of these people, like I've always believed that I'm going to get what I want in life. I've never thought that like I was fucked over or that someone denied me what I was entitled to. I just kept working at it, just kept grinding at it, and I knew that it would lead to good things. And truth is, life can still be hard, but it's less hard than it was yesterday. And every day it's less hard than it was the day before because of the constant grind, the constant dedication to making really good furniture, right? To always delivering a good experience for my customer, So, all right, so see where we're at in the comments. How are we doing? Good. I'm almost done. Let me get a comment in the comments, and we're going to continue with the discussion on becoming a very good woodworker, becoming a very good, whatever you want to call employee, wagey. All that work led to owning a business, right? Led to being able to work for myself, led to me finally getting paid a little bit, a little bit more than I got paid before. So, all right, this is Dlovan again. Oh yeah, I understand. Okay, cool. Falausk, who's this? Falauske? Yeah, Falauska? It's thoughts on war, ATM. All right, not sure what you're saying there. This is Turbo Time, Sweet Shop, educate early. Sweet Shops, educate early. Pay them from promissory notes too. That way you get interest to stay away from the man. I took one look at your guy, major homosexual. Okay, interesting. This is Solowers Soldier, right? Great name, dude. Okay, Christian Woodbine, 852. There is an old saying, silver is talking, silence is golden. Okay, well, that's, again, I completely disagree. You guys live in the like, know, and trust factor society today. Again, no one's going to buy from you if no one knows who you are. no one's going to give you top dollar for anything if they don't know who you are. Like, I don't know if you guys understand this. Like, this is one of those things you're going to have to learn to do. And you guys live in a society today where, unfortunately, social media is a big part of any business strategy. And again, you could be a legacy business and probably get away with less social media, but everyone does social media. Everyone talks about their products, and unless you're a faceless company, which most people have to start out to be a company that is very forward-facing, to then you can then become a faceless company. But it takes a long time, and most people never get there, So. Okay, but I like your comment there, Christian. I think that that saying is fantastic, but I just don't agree with it. Okay, let's see. It has no companionship. Soldier, again, you're an idiot. You step away and help people who can't even help themselves. If you stop trying to help people that can't. Okay, and Soldier, again, a lot of people that can't help themselves. Even someone like me who loves to help people grow their skills, teach people how to do all kinds of things. I can't help them either. We got a lot of people today that not only can they not help themselves, but society's not interested in helping them too. And again, this is one of the reasons we bring the third world in here, is because, again, teaching low-income people that have been in generational poverty, teaching people that again, just don't have a lot of skills, don't have a lot of work ethic because they've never seen it, because there's no fathers in the home. People have given up on those people, and it's sad. It really bothers me. There's no what government likes to do today is it likes to give those people money, right? And as business owners, we're happy, like, just fucking tax us. Let these people stay on welfare. We don't want them in our businesses. We'd rather have the third world in here. That's really kind of how the big picture looks, guys. And it's very sad, and it can be deflating. Like, if you're a person that likes to help people, grow their skills. You like helping the lower class, right? I came from the lower class. I figured it out. But there's a big group of people that just don't. They're done. They're done trying to help. So when you say that, we want to help people that can't help themselves, like, I think those days are over. I just don't think that, again, it's easier just to send the work to the third world or bring the third world in here. We got classes of people in here. You can't teach them anything. They don't want to learn. They're major detriments to your businesses. So it's just easier to keep them on welfare. Keep them in Section 8, give them food stamps, and keep them out of society. It's really sad, but I think that's what's really going on there. So, okay, Ninja Aplex 190, you need to play memory games for 4 hours. Okay, I used to do memory games. I loved it. Okay, Chosen Laws here. Okay, Chosen Laws here from Minneapolis. Good to see you, dude. Glad you're here. We're talking about the story of a normie dude living in bumfuck Egypt in Corvallis, Oregon. Grew up in a trailer to finally getting somewhere in his life. Took a lot of work. Took a lot of doing the same thing year after year, grinding. And I'm here to tell you guys, it still works. Again, and people want to say, oh, no one can make a living wage. Everything's too expensive. And again, I've never experienced that in my life. And again, if you want to beat inflation, you guys want to beat why no one can afford shit today, have a business. Because as the cost of inflation goes up, guess what? So does your salary. So does the amount of money you have to charge for things, and then the money you can make for things. It grows with the economy, But again, just a lot of people like to complain, And I'm telling you guys the story. That's what we're talking about, chosen law. I'm trying to give people something other than war to talk about, right? We had this big, whatever happened yesterday. I really don't feel like talking about that today. I'm talking about something else. So, all right, we got Ninjaplex 190. I need to play memory games. All right, cool. We got Charles Smith, Charles Smith, good to see you, dude. 4793. Ninja, is that a leg lamp? This is a leg lamp, dude. All right, Ninjaplex, Charles Smith. It's cool. Yeah, okay. Almost making through in the comments. Charles Smith, NGL, when ladies see like a 4 3D printers, okay, at home, they act interested until I explain. They do, and they usually leave. Of course, like, this is the dynamic between men and women. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I literally was just watching a joke last night that said the same exact thing. This guy, he's a comedian, and he's telling a joke. He's like, look, here's how a transmission works, right? You got the engine, it's got all these moving parts, you got the wheels back here, there's this thing called the transmission. And the transmission, has friction plates, and it's got clutch plates, and, it sends power from the engine to the rear wheels, via these things called gears. And he's explaining this thing, and then he stops mid-explanation, right? And it pans to the women, and they're all rolling their eyes. And he says, this is how we fucking feel about everything you talk about. It was great. It was a hilarious joke. It's so true. Like, we're wildly different, which is a good thing, I think. So, anyway, but I like your comment, man. All right, let's see. I'm trying to get him from experience. Got it. Okay, you're making blah, blah, 3D printers. 3D printers are sweet, dude. Okay, so does the cost of living, so basically you take first step forward and 2 steps back. No, I don't know. It's not 2 steps, it's not 1 step forward and 2 steps back. But I mean, that happens to everybody, guys. Like, I don't think that this isn't like people today have it worse than people yesterday. Like, we all kind of have it the same way. But I'm here to tell you guys that you have to stick with something. And this, again, as I hire people and I fire people over my 10 years of doing this, like I realize that a lot of people they bounce from job to job to job. And a lot of people have a lot of different kinds of jobs, okay? I never did that. I stuck with woodworking my entire life. Once I got into woodworking at about 18 years old, I was probably more like closer to 20, but I just stuck with it. And even though I never got paid a lot of money, you know, I worked a shit ton of overtime, and working overtime gets you exponentially better at what you do than working 40 hours a week. Working overtime means you can keep up with the cost of inflation, means you can punch above your weight because you're willing to grind more at the job, at learning the skill. And that skill, if you do it long enough, can turn into something where you become the boss. You can have your own business. You know, you don't have to be the manager. You can be the fucking owner, but you have to do it long enough to get really good at it. You have to see enough things go wrong to understand what's going right. And I think a lot of people, they don't stick around to learn what's going right. All they do is see things going wrong. Oh, I do the same thing day in and day out. My boss doesn't give me any opportunities. Oh, I don't have the right name. Oh, he likes this person, doesn't like that person. When the truth is, like, you don't stick around long enough. Plain and simple. And if you're at one of these employers where they don't give you the opportunity, you're actually the person that is volunteering for everything, that shows up all the time, that works all the overtime, is doing all the work that I talk about. If you're actually one of those people, you need to move jobs. Well, there's no one in my business. This is the only business that does this thing. There's no opportunity where I live. Then fucking move. I literally moved out of Corvallis, Oregon, one of those most beautiful places on earth, to Wichita, fucking Kansas. You know, so when people tell me I don't have opportunity, I can't do this, it's not fair, well, I don't buy it. I moved with $750 in my pocket in a Mazda Miata halfway across the country, and it led to my next opportunity, changed the course of my life. Okay, so again, when people bitch about this kind of stuff, I don't want to hear it. I'm tired of people complaining about their situation, their story, right? And again, people hate it when you talk like this, but it's honest to God truth, you know? So, all right, let's go through the last couple comments, and then we're gonna talk more about working on the big projects, right? Working on the Doomsday planes, the E-4B planes, the ones that hold all the new codes, working on the Sultan of Brunei's plane, working on the Saudi Princess plane, working on whatever, Michael Jordan's plane, working on the Denver Broncos, working on Taylor Swift's plane, working on Kohler's plane, working on, you know, Citadel Capital's plane, working on Diamond Capital's plane. Like, I talk about all these things. I've worked on every fucking one of them, okay? So go with their comments. All right, let's see here. This is Jay Hostelou. Check out the Temple of Zeus organized. Okay, good. Interesting comment, but I don't know what you're saying there. Okay, I left a little amazing joke. So Charles Smith, you've probably heard that joke before. Again, it's not my joke. I think it's hilarious. And again, I just saw it yesterday, which is why your comment to me was so funny. Okay, subbed. Okay, yes, Charles Smith, yes, facts. Okay. Let's see, Charles. We got the Christian Med Wide. And again, Charles Smith, like, again, go to the resplendentcrow.com. You see the furniture. I'm not trying to sell you guys anything. I just sell furniture. This is one of the reasons I don't have to pander on YouTube. I'm not one of these guys who can be like, oh, I got a nice safe story I'm never going to use for profanity, or say any kind of a slur, or say anything bad about women, or say anything bad about you. I can say whatever I want because I don't make my money here, right? The channel's monetized, and we have the ads. We have all that crap there. I got the memberships. I got the super chats. All that stuff's all there. But it's not where I make my money. I make my money because I have a real business and I employ real people making real American products, you know? So that's how I'm gonna grow this channel, right? If people don't wanna hear this content, the channel will never grow, and that's fine. But that's the only thing I do on this channel, is talk to you guys about a real person that made a real business that makes a real American product, okay? I'm tired of people talking about, get rich, follow my course, go buy real estate, go buy gold, you know, go to college. You know, all these people are just constantly selling you guys bullshit here on YouTube, right? Oh, look at my BetterHelp ad, you know, if like everyone needs a fucking therapist, you know, look at my gold ad, you know, look at all my ads that are completely irrelevant that nobody actually uses. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna continue to grow, so some of them continue talking about it. People like this content. This is what it is. You guys wanna learn how to make furniture? You wanna learn how to be an idiot and turn it into, you know, a decent middle-class living? You know, this is what this channel is. So, okay, Christian Medwide says, it's an old Swiss saying, Sybil first Rendon since first golden, being humble and reserved is important. Yes, being humble and reserved is wildly important, but we need heroes, guys. And again, heroes come in all shapes and sizes. We need people that can show us that we can do something other than what the best of the best tell us that we can do, right? We can tell us that there's a path to getting what it is you want in life, and it might not be the path to buying gold, right? To getting into real estate, right? To being the guy that comes up with Tesla, right? Being the guy that, you know, comes up with the next app. You know, you can literally just grind it out, work hard. It might take you an extra 10, 20 years, but you can get there. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if people don't like that story, then they don't like that story, you know? But I'm here to tell you guys, it's okay to move across the country, okay? Because again, I haven't even talked about moving over to the East Coast. I started on the West Coast. I moved to the East Coast to get where I'm at which ultimately is back in the Midwest, right? So it's a long story. And again, I don't think people tell this story enough. You guys want to hear that I had cancer, right? And then I moved over here from Bangladesh and I didn't even speak English. And somehow I got a scholarship to go to Harvard. And once I went to Harvard, I met this person who then, told me the thing, and I became the next wild business owner. I created Chobani yogurt or something like that. And I had this I don't have a wild story. I've got an American story, a normal story. Poverty to middle class. Not poverty to being the richest man on earth, poverty to being a normal dude. Okay, and it's okay. I think it's a great story. So, all right, let's see. Charles Smith says, also means less of your life experience. But yeah, I have to agree, would pay off in the long run. Again, and that's the thing, guys. It's the consistency. It's the long look things. Like I don't know of a simple path. I don't know of a quick path to anything. I know a lot of people, they're trying to chase the quick path. Oh God, if I only had this amount of money, I could then have this opportunity. If I only had this amount of money, I could then do this. Like, that doesn't exist, guys. There's no pile of money that is going to get you to where you want to be. Because again, nobody's going to give you shit because you got fucking money. I'm sorry to tell you guys this. And if they do give you something, it's very short. It's not going to last because you don't know anything. You didn't learn anything. You don't have any experience. You didn't live in the shit to appreciate the good. You haven't seen the good to appreciate the shit. Like, it takes a lot of time to learn how to do something that lasts. And everybody wants it quick. Everyone wants to know, well, how much money do you make, right? How much money do I make on YouTube, right? How do I go from being broke to a millionaire in 60 days? Everything's super fast. How do I get abs in 6 minutes, right? It's that line from Something Mary. I'm going to come up with, you got 7-minute abs? I'm going to do 6-minute abs. That's how I'm going to get rich. It's like everyone wants to get rich quickly. I'm here to tell you guys it doesn't exist. The people that get rich are the people that are selling you the dream. I don't sell you the fucking dream. I just sell furniture. That's all I sell, so... All right, Charles Smith, 4793. It also means less of your life experience. Okay, yep, good, Charles. I've read that a lot. You have less attachments. Charles Smith, 4793. I like the linchpin of my entire family, so I couldn't move. Had to create a 3D print business to still have a part-time job. But that's cool, man. Good for you. You probably understand the grind. It takes time. You're probably not going to get rich, but maybe you can get, just a normal, decent middle class living. And yeah, I might take 2 jobs. Again, I essentially have 4 different businesses within my one business, right? So you might have like a part-time job and a main job. Like, again, when you have a whole bunch of revenue streams, it's like having multiple jobs, right? Again, I spend tons of time doing engineering. I spend tons of time building furniture, right? We have vintage furniture that we bring in from all over the country. We make new furniture that we ship all over the country. We have to manufacture hardware in India, which is a whole other set of issues, right? So there's a whole bunch of different ways to make money, but they're like a whole bunch of full-time jobs. Like, it's never easy. It's never simple, So Charles Smith, I appreciate your being candid with everyone. Okay, the best way to get rich is to be born in a wealthy family. No, dude. Like, you guys want my family was in wealth management. Again, very humble beginnings, and they ended up retiring very well off, doing very well. And when they would talk to me about wealth management, they said the worst thing that can happen to you in life is that you're born into money. It's the worst thing. Because what happens is the first generation has to grind, right? The first generation, like you guys said earlier in the stream, the first generation, nobody knows who you are. No one cares who you are. They use your product, they use your service. No one gives a shit. You bust your ass your entire life. You finally get some success later on, which is how it always works. Very rarely do people get success early. You get it later on, you then pass it on to your kids. Your kids then take it. Some of them will try and run with that business, but because they didn't understand the grind, most of them will squander the business, squander the product, squander the money. So most businesses don't survive into the second generation, even less survive into the third generation. So by the third generation, you have even less people who understand the grind, even less people who understand what it took to build up the business from the first generation. By the third generation, it's all gone. So being born into wealth is not a good thing. In fact, again, I think that the age of Instagram, the age of Facebook, and again, when we just see how everyone's doing super successful, people only show the good shit. It's created at least 10 or 20 years of people that don't know what life is really like. And again, they're super depressed because they don't realize that, yeah, you're gonna have to work for 20 or 30 years to make any kind of fucking money in this world, to grow a product, a brand, to get enough knowledge to get really paid. It takes a long time. And again, I think people's minds have been short-circuited. It's really too bad. All right, let's see about, born into wealth, man, I think it's a curse, if I'm being completely honest. All right, Charles Smith, 4793. Heroes are just sacrificial lambs waiting on their turn to be offered up. All I say is still keep a cape in the closet. Yeah, you got a lot of good sayings there, Charles Smith. Best beverage I heard all day was a newish slur for white people. Bro called y'all sun dodgers. Some of the terms that you guys use, like the younger generation uses, are just hilarious. Like they're so funny. Sun dodger. That's good, man. Okay, let's see. Good stuff. All right, Crystal Lopez in here, 7256. You good man. Okay, well, I don't know if I'm a good man. I'm just trying to give people a story. I'm trying to tell people the story of what it took to get to where I am today, where I started from, because I think it's relevant, you know? So let's see where we're at in the comments. Okay, I'm almost done with the comments. So we're going to end here with Crystal Lopez. Let me get back into the story, and then we'll go back to the comments again. So, all right, so Wichita, Kansas, right? So I'm in Wichita, Kansas. I worked there for like 11 years. I started to learn AutoCAD. I started to learn CATIA. I started to learn SolidWorks. I learned all these things, which took me into the engineering department there at this company, Global Engineering and Technology. And again, I'm not getting paid, guys. I'm not getting paid to do all this new work because they basically said to me like, hey, do this thing. We'll get you paid later, right? Prove you can do it, then we'll get you paid, which is how it should be. And they just never paid me. And I just kept doing the work because I liked doing the work. Like I felt like I was useful. I felt like I was needed. And I could build the furniture. I could do the CAD work. I could create drawings. And I hadn't gone into planning yet. But again, I'm being useful, which being useful is worth a lot of money. So I don't know what you guys feel about that. But I think being useful is worth lots of dollars an hour, whatever that might translate into. Feeling like you're needed is really valuable. And again, I didn't have a lot of friends at this company. It wasn't like I went out all the time and partied with people. I mean, I had some, but it wasn't like the employees were the reason I was there. I hear that a lot. I didn't give a fuck about those people. Like I cared about the work. I liked being useful. I liked the working on exclusive airplanes. I liked knowing who the airplanes were owned by, right? And there's a lot of joy that comes from it. I really like that. So anyway, I'm learning all this stuff. I learned engineering, I learned planning, I learned to do auditing and all these kind of things. I even went into safety and health, right? So they tapped me to be the safety coordinator for a company with 200 employees, right? So I'm sitting here trying to learn, you know, how to get our safety and our compliance going on, right? So you got to learn about, you know, make sure people have the right respirators, they're up to codes on all their breathing data, right? They store their respirators correctly. You're trying to learn how to bring the energy footprint down on the business. I ended up having to go to Topeka, Kansas, Salina, Kansas, where I had to talk to the EPA, the EPA in Kansas. I forget what they called it, anyway. The Kansas Department of Environment, whatever the hell that is up there, had talked to them because we got sued, or we didn't get sued, we got cited twice by the environmental people there in Kansas for disposing of paint waste incorrectly, basically digging a hole and burying it. Don't do that, not good. So they tapped me to go deal with that, right? So now I'm not making furniture. I'm learning how to do the environmental stuff. I'm not in engineering. I'm learning how to do those things. So I have to go up to Salina, deal with these people, figure this thing out. And so I'm learning about Energy Star ratings. I'm learning how to offset the fines that we're supposed to pay the state of Kansas so that we can then buy equipment, right? Because that's kind of how the racket works, right? If you can pay this fine, or you can buy 3 times the equipment, bring your energy rating down, bring your waste rating down, and then you don't have to pay the money, you know? So I'm learning all this kind of stuff and all these skills that I learned over the years of this company that paid me no money. No money, guys. Didn't pay my 401k, didn't really do jack shit for me, if I'm being completely honest. They taught me a lot of skills, though. There's a ton of experience there. So I finally decided to leave this place after learning all this stuff. They weren't paying me. I'm like, I'm gonna go work someplace else. I went to work for the company that laid me off when I first moved to Kansas. Nordam. Nordam was the company that bought Baumhoff when I first moved to Kansas, right? So now I'm back to working for this company, okay? Again, the aerospace capital of the world is in Wichita, Kansas, guys. I didn't know this when I moved there. It's just dumb luck. Working for this company, I started working there. They have the most beautiful place. They paid me something like $4 or $5 an hour more. So I basically got like a 25% raise for jumping to another company after 11 years, right? I'm thinking, this is awesome. Making some more money, feels good. They actually fund your 401k. It was something like a 5% match. It was really good. What they would match you up to like $3,000 or $4,000 at the time. It was really good. Healthcare was amazing. They paid for all the healthcare. I think I paid $50 a month for my healthcare when I went to this company. It was just like, holy shit, this is incredible. I mean, skylights in the roof. I mean, it was like fucking Shangri-La for manufacturing places. Beautiful. Big, instead of having a downdraft table that hardly worked, they had these big booths. They were essentially, you go put your parts in the booth, big walls of vacuum, and they would just suck all the dust out. I'd never seen something so cool. They were made by a company called Donaldson, right? Amazing company. So I go from working at this company that, again, used the shittiest equipment, I had the shittiest aerospace contracts, was using the shittiest software, and again, just nickel and dimed everything to a company that had tons of money, tons of everything. It was awesome. I got to admit, it was fantastic. Well, this company, they put me in working on Ember Air stuff. So you guys know Ember Air. They're an aerospace business out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, right? They sell, I forget what they're called, like Predators and Phantoms. I think those are their big planes. But again, this is a long time ago. So I'm building closet cabinets. I'm building just whatever they need me to build. Well, they actually track their hours with total metrics. Like they literally analyze everything. They've got the people. They know exactly how long every single worker takes to do their job. They're super analytical, which sucks for me. But again, now I've got a computer, right? So my workstation, I have a CATIA on my computer at my own workstation, which I'd never had before. Well, I'd never even used a computer until I went in engineering at my old company. We always worked on drawings. Now I'm working with 3D models, exploded views, removing, taking on parts. I can look at drawings. I have databases of information. Fucking amazing. But again, being able to do that taught me the skills of using CAD, right? So, and then now that we have data analysis, when my boss would come to me, when it came to be review time, my boss would say to me, well, you know what, Eric, these cabinets generally take whatever, 50, 60 hours. You cut these things down by 18%. You cut these things down by 20%. You know, you're building these things way faster than everyone else's. How are you doing it? Right? And we would go through what it is I'm doing. Okay, well, you saved us 20% on all the furniture you built over the life of your last year. That saved us, you know, whatever, 1,000 hours over the year. That's worth X amount of dollars. We're going to pay you this much extra money. Okay? Wild, guys, and awesome. Okay, I loved it. I grew my wage there at Nordam, right? Well, Nordam ended up closing down because the dollars, the metrics said that the operations they had in Wichita, Kansas didn't make any sense anymore, so they wanted to move all operations to Tulsa, which is where their hub was in the Midwest. So they closed it all down. I'm making great money. I'm happy working there, right? When they did that, they're like, hey, we need to send someone to New Zealand. We got people, we got to go deal with this jet there in New Zealand on the South Island in Christchurch, and we're gonna have to send people there. We got to do paint work, we got to do finish work, we got to do cabinet adjustments, we got to rebuild things, we got to do all kinds of shit. So they started sending people to New Zealand. Well, I'm one of the people. I'm like, hey, I'll go to New Zealand. They're like, great, you need to go to New Zealand. Got me my passport, gave me a credit card, and off I went. You know, go fly to New Zealand, go figure it out. And I did. And that was a freaking awesome experience. But then when I got back, I had to move from Wichita, Kansas down to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay, so again, started in Corvallis, Oregon, went to Wichita, Kansas. From Wichita, Kansas, now I got to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Mind you, I'm married the entire time I'm doing this. Wife number one, gone. Wife number two, about to be gone, okay? The work is the life, unfortunately. Like, you're just chasing the work, trying to make money, trying to grow your family, trying to grow your life, trying to grow your savings, trying to grow your retirement, trying to grow everything. But at the whole time, I'm growing skills. I'm growing skills within an industry that needs people that want to do shit, right? Again, working lots of hours, always work 60 to 70 hours a week. Very rare to work 50 hours a week, almost never worked 40 hours a week. I didn't get to work 40 hours a week till later on in my career when I got to Gulfstream, which we haven't even got to. Okay, so now I have to go down to Tulsa, Oklahoma. My wife is not a fan of moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma. She wants me to go get another job there in Wichita, Kansas. So what do you guys think I did, right? It's like, no, my career is more important to me than anything. And she reluctantly was going to move there. But at that time, after I got back from New Zealand, I got a taste of freedom, what it was like to not be married, because I'd never not been married before. And I was like, nope, we're not doing this. I got a divorce. You know, and again, if she filed for divorce, it was really me that had quit the marriage before she ever filed for divorce, if I'm being completely honest, you know. And again, so done. Marriage is over. Marriage number two, gone. So that ended up being a whole clusterfuck of a situation, as you could probably imagine, with alimony, child support, all this kind of stuff. I made the bulk of the money, therefore I had to pay for everything, and that sucked as a guy who never graduated high school and is a W-2 worker, you know, making about, I was probably making at that time, I think I was making about 80 grand a year, somewhere in there. But when I got down to Tulsa, then I started making $100,000 a year. I was making really good money because, again, we just worked so damn much. Well, going down there, well, now I get to work on Richard Branson's planes, right? So Virgin Atlantic is buying 787 Dreamliner aircraft from Boeing. Okay, so now I'm getting to build all the cool shit from Boeing. Well, we had this old wizard, right? I haven't even talked about all the wizards I've worked under. I've worked under two of them, right? We had this wizard there who was an old aerospace worker, and we had to start learning more about sheet metal work. Well, he taught me how to, how to basically create finishes on aluminum, right? How to get aluminum plated, how to shape aluminum, how to do all kinds of anodizing, zinc coatings, all these different kinds of coatings and platings that you can put on aluminum, because when it comes to aerospace, steel is really heavy. Tin's dog shit. Aluminum is both strong and light, so they plate everything in aluminum. Wildly difficult to do and incredibly expensive. So I got to learn how to plate different kinds of metals, how to work with all these different kinds of metals. And guess what I do in my business now, guys? How many furniture companies that sell furniture plate their metal with aerospace grade plating? Okay, me. I'm probably the only one that does it, right? I got the customers that'll pay for it, right? Again, the customers that are rich have private jets, and guess what? They love the idea of having the same kind of finish on their furniture. Okay, there's a little tip for you guys. Be different. Anyway, so in Tulsa, Oklahoma, doing that work. It's fantastic. I learned all kinds of fun stuff. I'm working on Richard Branson's planes. I've shown you guys before Richard Branson and being in there showing all the stuff that I built for his jets. We did the very first build. And again, from the work that I did in New Zealand, they were the same company that contracted the design of the Richard Branson 787. So now we're working with this New Zealand company some more and taking on more work, right? They're doing 787 Dreamliners. It's freaking awesome. This is back when the 787 Dreamliner was a new thing. Now it's old hat. But a lot of fun there, right? So I worked for this company. I'm working literally 80 hours a week, okay? Learning more stuff about furniture making, more kinds of materials, more kinds of products. Well, I go from learning, basically you're using CNC routers to do kit parts, right? I do a lot of R&D, one-off building. I'd never seen where a company started bringing in fixtures, right? So what they would do now is we got a contract with FedEx. So we're making cabinets for FedEx planes that move cargo all over the world, right? And again, they buy furniture from the same people, or cabinets from the same people that do private jets, right? Because we make cabinets for aerospace. So what I'm learning now is fixtures, right? So this idea that you can take essentially the outside structure, which would replicate the outside of an airplane, the fuselage, the contour of an airplane, and you basically build a piece of furniture inside of this fixture. That way, everything is the exact same size, it fits in the exact same space, has all the exact same mounting locations, pinhole locations, so on and so forth. So now I'm learning different ways to manufacture, right? The one-off way to manufacture, the CNC way to manufacture, the kit way to manufacture. Excuse me. Now we're learning fixture manufacturing. So all these skills that I'm learning and moving around the country learning this shit is teaching me different ways to think about manufacturing, right? To think on my own, to not just do what I'm told, to start being able to critically think about how to make different kinds of things. It's because of the experience. It's not because I'm a genius. It's not because I had the education. I'm the business owner's son. I had a bunch of money. None of that shit. It's the grind, guys. It's being there all the time, being the guy that gets the opportunity because you're always around, okay? So I'm going to leave Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm going to get the opportunity that I wanted for a long time. I'd applied, I think, 3 times before to work at the company called Gulfstream, which is the mecca of aerospace. They make the most beautiful jet there is. They are the most prestigious jet company that there is. I just really wanted to work there. And they were in Savannah, Georgia. So I finally got the opportunity to work there, right? They flew me out. They wanted me to see Savannah. They wanted to do an interview with me. They wanted to make sure that I was going to be a good fit for this company. They really took a lot of time to make sure that this was going to work. And I took the job. It ended up going great. They moved me out to Savannah, Georgia, right? Which is awesome. I loved it. I mean, they paid for everything. It was a great experience. And now I've got to go to Savannah, Georgia, where I'm going to go work for the best of the best, okay? Which is awesome. Okay, so let's go through comments. And again, this is just a normie story. I haven't got to my business. I haven't got to the thing that I do right now. The reason I even do a YouTube channel, right? I haven't got to any of that. I never did any of this shit while I was working for somebody else. I only started doing this stuff when I had my own company, and I finally got some kind of, moderate success. So, okay, let's see. So we left with Crystal Lomas. Crystal, I appreciate being here. I hope you're still in the stream. All right, Joshua Benjamin, 4616, blue eyes brighten in the sunlight and get darker in dark rooms. Who's the cave dweller? Okay, again, I'm not sure you're saying that. Chose Law, in the ideal economy, will stores just be called couches and stuff since everything would be already American made? I don't know, man. Like I said, I've talked about many times what would happen if America got back to making things in America again. And again, there would be a lot less jobs, which is okay because guess what? You don't need a lot of the third world employees. You don't need the third world to make all your shit, right? So there would be less jobs. But because there are more Americans working for American business selling to Americans, what you would pay your wage would be more in line with what the cost of living is. So more people would be able to afford a normal life. But it's not going to happen because, again, you got too many people that want to be business owners, but they don't want to work in the business. And it's okay. It's no shade on anyone. You got too many people that want to live the executive finance bro life that don't actually want to do real work. And as long as we got more people that want to do the finance bro, be a business owner, but not really work hard, as long as we got more of those than people that want to actually do the work, we're going to continue to bring the third world in here, and we're going to continue to outsource everything to the third world, And until that changes, like I said, I don't know, man. Okay, old school's back in here. Appreciate you being here, dude. 9783. Black Wall Street was carpet bombed for being affluent. I guess you're right. And it'll happen again. It'll happen, guys. And again, you can say, I mean, I've heard the story of Black Wall Street. Again, this is not a black-white racism issue. If you end up with too many people that become affluent, you end up with what's called the French Revolution, where they basically, the serfs, cut off all the heads of the aristocrats, right? They go through, they kill them, they kill their families, and they kill their families' families, they kill their friends, they kill everyone, and they take the wealth back for themselves. If we're not careful, we're going to end up in a situation like that again. I wholeheartedly believe it. If we keep electing people if we keep electing people to act on our behalf and they don't do the thing that they were elected to do, you'll end up with that. And again, we've got this Trump war situation. If we got a situation where, again, we voted for a non-interventionalist, and every point in this guy's presidential career in the second term, he's going snatching leaders out of sovereign countries. He's going and bringing the military over to all these foreign countries. And meanwhile, you can't afford things. Cost of living keeps going up. Jobs are being brought back to America. Housing is still unaffordable. And we're in the situation where the people that we voted for aren't doing the things that we elected them to do. Mass deportations, things like that. The only thing that's going to be left for people is to go and do the next thing, And again, like, you can vote for a Democrat, you can vote for a Republican, it doesn't matter. Like, they're not acting in your interest. And if you guys can't see that at this point, I'm done talking about it. Like, I see it plain and say the only thing you guys can do is get your own business or get so good at working for another company that you are undeniably the best, right? You cannot be let go. Unless you can do one of those two things, like, it's gonna be tough for anybody to make it here going forward. Okay, let's see, Charles Smith, 4793. Joshua, I'm not really trying to be racial. It was just telling a joke. Christian White, my last comment. America uses the word hero way too much. Everyone is a hero anymore. A real hero is a man like Sully who landed the plane Hudson River. A business owner is not a hero. Sorry. Okay, well, and again, we all kind of disagree, right? Again, my heroes are people like Charles Barkley and David Goggins. Like, I don't know who your heroes are. I don't look to business owners to be my hero, right? But what I do like is hearing the story of a guy like Paul Downs, who is a furniture business owner. He wrote a book called Boss Life. Go read it. And he talks about going from being a furniture maker and a cabinet maker, someone that really loved his work, to being a business owner, and the struggle that it was to go from working in the business to working on the business. And this personally has been the biggest struggle for me. But what I've also seen is that while I do a different kind of work and I work different kinds of hours, the work that a W-2 works and the work that a business owner does is wildly different, right? And we need to tell the stories of these people because, again, that Paul Downs book is one of the reasons that I do what it is that I do. He's the guy that gave me hope that, yeah, I can go from working in the business to working on the business, right? I can bridge those two things and be successful. I don't have to always be the guy that works in the business, right? So I think people need these stories. People need to hear different kinds of stories from different people that are in the industries that they are in, and call it heroes, call them leaders, call it whatever you want. I think it's important that people hear these stories. That way they know that they can do these things, right? When I look at a guy like David Goggins, right? I'm not David Goggins. I'm not black, but David Goggins is a normal dude who went on to do great things, had a lot of struggle, went on to do great things. Did he become a billionaire, the master of the universe? No, but his story is wildly inspiring, and the guy talks like I talk. I like when he uses profanity. I like when he tells dirty jokes and stories. Like, I love all that stuff. That's who I am. That's where I come from, right? When the guy talks about his dad kicking the shit out of him, I come from that story. It resonates with me, And again, I don't have to fall off into the ocean of obscurity and become nobody and just be sad and depressed and go on welfare and fade off. I don't have to do that. Every day I get up, I get excited to go to work. I'm not one of these people that's depressed. I'm not one of these people that has issues being motivated. Like, I'm wildly motivated, right? When I look at people like Charles Barkley, same deal. Grew up in Alabama, right? Again, he learned to jump by jumping over fences out in the fields. I mean, the guy learned to play basketball by playing on a dirt floor. Like, these guys, they do go on to do great things, and they're not the masters of their universe, not the best at what they do, but they got a great story, and I like it. So again, whoever your guys' hero is, we need more heroes. I've told the story of Arnold Schwarzenegger when he would talk about being fit, right? Was it, I forget if it was Bush or if it was Reagan. I think it was Reagan. He'd be out there, with the kids doing curls and doing jumping jacks with people. And I still remember that as being a young guy and thinking like, man, that was freaking awesome. Like, that's literally a hero. The guy's the Terminator. He's whatever, the Predator guy, he's amazing, and great story. But it wasn't until I got older that I actually learned how Arnold Schwarzenegger became Arnold Schwarzenegger. Nobody wanted to tell that story because everyone only wanted to hear the really good stuff. Like, you guys don't know that when Arnold Schwarzenegger came over here to America, he actually made his money by selling Italian tile work. Like, this idea that, oh, I'm from Austria, I know all about ancient Italian tile work. That's how he started out making money, guys. He didn't start out making money by being Mr. Olympia or by being Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator. He learned to sell people. He knew about sales. He took this idea of being able to get more money by using his Austrian accent and being able to sell this idea of high-end Italian tile. Like, the guy was buying real estate before he became successful as Mr. Olympia. Like, the backstories are amazing, guys, but you're not going to hear that stuff unless you read his biography, like his real autobiography. It's amazing stuff, So anyway, I think we need more heroes, not less. And again, the heroes that we consider heroes today, a lot of them are degenerates. They really are. And I would use musicians as the classic one. Like, again, you think you're going to be a fucking musician? Like, good luck. You think you're going to be Jimi Hendrix? Why would you want to be Jimi Hendrix? The guy died of a drug overdose. Oh, he was a genius. Yeah, he's a genius that fucking died. Or you want to be Kurt Cobain? Yeah, Kurt Cobain. Again, oh, he's a genius. Yeah, he blew his head off with a shotgun. These aren't heroes, guys. These are degenerates. They just happen to be, they make some great songs. You want to pick another industry. I'm happy to pick plenty of other industries. Someone like an Elon Musk, I consider Elon Musk to actually be a hero. Yeah, he's definitely mentioned in the Epstein files. I don't know if there's something there, but I consider that guy to be a real hero. Immigrant comes in and, oh, his dad. I don't give a fuck about any of that. Like, the guy creates real tangible things. Like, your heroes are the people on Instagram that are influencers that are telling you to buy their shit, right? That they're hawking from somebody else. They're telling you guys to buy their shit that comes in from China so they can get rich and you guys can feel good about yourselves. Like, these aren't heroes, guys. We need a better class of heroes. I'm sorry, we need to, learn more about Ernest Shackleton, right? We need to learn more about, again, like, I think Charles Barkley is a great hero. There's a lot of heroes out there. We need more of them, So anyway, sorry, guys. I want to rant on that one. Okay, so being honest, you need that SPS 20. Yeah, I know, right? Again, buy my shit, guys. Buy my shit. And again, most people that are selling you guys stuff, they're not selling anything that they make. This is why we need heroes that actually make real stuff. Say what you will about Elon Musk. Starting a car company is probably the hardest thing anyone's ever done in my lifetime. Wildly difficult, guys. And it takes so much consistency and so much belief that you can get that done. It's wild what that guy was able to do. I mean, just absolutely wild. Okay, I mute this guy. Okay, cool. Yeah, again, my mic's probably going to run out at some point. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Keep going with the comments. Okay, Charles Smith again, 4793. I subbed. I'm interested in learning woodworking as well. Light help with some custom orders. Yeah, and again, Charles Smith, I can help you with all that stuff. Yeah, when I do my live streams, you can ask your questions then. I also do consults with people, and again, I never talk about it, but again, go to themodernwoodworker.com and email me. Again, I'm happy to set up a consult. I'll answer any guys' question. I do it for lots of people. I charge $150 an hour to do it because, again, you got to have some skin in the game. I'm talking to people that just want to do something, so you got to have some skin in the game. But go over there and message me. I'm happy to help you out. You can send me all your questions. I'll analyze them for you and go over them with you. And like I said, I love helping people. Okay, let's see here. And again, Charles Smith, I got tons of videos on how to make all the stuff that I make. You don't have to call me. You don't have to subscribe to nothing I do. The videos are all there. So again, show you how to do this kind of stuff. Okay, did you know of anyone who worked there prior to being hired? No, I've never known anybody that's worked at any place that I've ever worked at. There are no, oh, so-and-so got me in. There's no story like that. The only person I knew that got me into woodworking was my stepdad, who married my wife, or my wife, married my mom, right? So he had no choice but to use me. I was always around. That's the only person I've ever known, right? I've gotten people hired. I've tried to help people, and sometimes it's worked out, sometimes it hasn't worked out. But knowing people, I mean, to your point, is probably the best way to get into a job. You can find someone who will vouch for you. I think that's the best recommendation you can get, to be completely honest with you. Okay, Lost Cause 187. I recognize the lamp. It was made in Fragile. That's right. Charles Smith, 4793, I hate that so many entry-level jobs ask for experience. Like, what the fuck's the point of calling it entry-level job? That's 100%, guys. And again, you guys are all being fucking lied to. You were, again, starting in 2001, businesses, I shouldn't say started, it actually started in the 90s with NAFTA. The American businesses started sending all the work to the third world because, again, the people that run the companies don't want to work in the companies, right? They want to work on the company, not in the company. And the most expensive thing for any business is labor, guys. Like I've said it 1,000 times. You fucking employees are so goddamn expensive. You're almost not worth it anymore. You got to pay the wages. We got to listen to you guys fucking complain. You know, you can't get off your fucking phones. There's all the insurance that we're required to employ. You think that it's just your salary. There's the insurance. There's the expenses. There's the culture clashes. There's the making sure you got a nice break room. Make sure you got a nice parking lot. You know, the fucking crying on your shoulder about your family bullshit. Like, I say that to make a point. Like, there's a lot of reasons to send the work to the third world if you're a business owner and not someone that works in the business, okay? Again, when robots come in, you guys are all fucked. When the third world can come in here because we don't secure our borders, you're all fucked. Your wages go down, your opportunities decrease, and as an American business owner, I talk about the reasons we need to do 400% tariffs and close the fucking border and get all these people out of here so that you guys can make some real money. And to your point, Charles Smith, I tell you guys, out of high school, go work for business. Start young. When you're in high school, go work for business. And I always get the people in here like, oh my God, that's child labor. Oh, you want people to work for nothing. It's like, no, you fucking idiot. You're not worth anything when you're in high school. You're literally fucking labor. You're literally a stand-in for a computer, a stand-in for a robot. Why would we pay you $30 an hour? And again, you have no bills. You can afford to be paid nothing and learn. How many people do we send to college, right? We send millions of people to fucking college, and the people that go to college pay for it. You could go to work for a company right out of high school and get paid to learn some shit. But everyone's been mind-fucked to think that they got to go to college. And this is one of the things I talk about all the time. And I constantly lose people because, again, this idea of just starting to work when you get out of high school or while you're in high school is somehow a bad thing. Like, you're just relegated to a life of poverty. I don't have any fucking poverty in my life, okay? So when I talk about stuff, I know what I'm talking about. But again, guys, all you guys, go to college. You can't get an entry-level job because, yeah, most of you, when you come out of college, you're like, oh my God, I can't get paid $80,000 a year. I need to go find a job that pays me enough money. And then, meanwhile, Eric's over here saying, hey, you want to learn how to make furniture making? I'll pay you 18 bucks an hour. Oh my God, I can't do that. That's beneath me. I don't want to do it. Yet, when you get into your 30s and 40s and you didn't make any fucking money, then you're coming to me, oh, I want to learn something else. I got to do something different. Well, guess what? It's too late. Because you can't take the $18 an hour that will pay a young person who knows nothing, right, to learn and grow up to making $40 or $50 an hour. You want to get paid now. And again, this is the big problem in society. Everyone wants to get paid today because they got tons of bills when they should have been learning to do the fucking work when they were young, living at home with no bills. And somehow the colleges convinced you people that when you have no bills, no responsibility, nothing, you should pay somebody else to teach you something for which you're going to get out later in life, not knowing very much, in a place that isn't going to pay you what you need to get paid to pay off your loans. It just, it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me how people thought that this was going to be a good thing. I can't figure it out, guys. And again, without sending all the work to the third world, there will be no money to pay you guys to get psychology degrees, to pay you guys to learn data analysis, to pay you guys to be industrial engineers. There'd be no fucking money for it. But because they paid the guy in China $250 an hour, and they should be paying you $32.50 an hour to build the skyscrapers, to make the furniture, to run the store, right? To do boxing work, to do any kind of work, any kind of manual labor work here, to frame houses, right? To put in the concrete foundations, to take care of the roads, to take care of the parks. It makes perfect sense to me. I don't know why it doesn't make more sense to more people. So Charles Smith, it's impossible for you guys. You need to get your kids into these businesses young. Endear yourself to a company. There's a lot of employers today, and again, so I think small business gets a bad rap, but there's a lot of us, we pay our people really well. People stay with us for a long time. Like my shipper's been with me since the day we started the company. 10 years, right? My cabinet maker's been here for 5 years, moved here from Syria, became a refugee, became an American citizen while he worked for me. Okay, been here for a long time. My painter's been with me for, I think, 6 or 7 years at this point. Again, a lot of us, we take care of our people because without our people, we have no fucking companies. But again, when you can outsource to the third world, when you can bring the third world in here, guess what? We don't have to develop a relationship with you. But if you come out of college, learning some bullshit stuff that you learned from some fucking professor who's never worked a day in his life, and then you come into my business, tell me I got to pay you 30 grand a year, or excuse me, 60 grand a year because you got a fucking college education, I'm going to tell you go fuck yourself. Like, I'm not paying you. You're worth nothing to me. Your education is worth something to somebody, but good luck. You're doing a job, you're looking for a job, with a degree that 10 million other people got. So guess what? When there's 10 million other people competing for the same type of work, guess what? You're not going to make dick. Go do something that's hard. Go do something that requires you to be outside. You'll always be employed. So sorry, dude. Those great comment, but those comments always get me worked up. Okay, South Lake Town. Again, I still got to get back to my story of leaving Tulsa, Oklahoma, and going to Savannah, Georgia. One of the most beautiful towns in America, by the way. Okay, South Lake owned. Get off this ratting, dude. You're too hyper. Okay, I don't know that I'm hyper. I haven't even had my third cup of coffee yet. Charles Smith, most beautiful places in America is literally Vegas if you remove all the people. I love Vegas, man. People don't know about how beautiful Nevada is, man. The fucking mountains you guys got there. I mean, holy shit. That is such a beautiful area. I spent a week in Henderson, just outside of Vegas. I did World's Toughest Mudder, and it's a 24-hour endurance race where you climb hills and swim and do all kinds of shit. A lot of fun, man. But beautiful area. But Vegas, man, Vegas is great. I love Vegas. I love being there. A lot of fun, but Vegas has died. Like on my phone right now, I've got this casino app. I play my casino app like all the time, so why would I go to Vegas when I could play this casino app? And the casino app pays better because they don't have to pay for the hotels, they don't have to pay for the comps, they don't have to pay for the, all the entertainment, they don't have to pay for jack shit. They just have an app on a phone. That's really all people want. People that are like I'm basically a fucking gambling addict, if I'm being completely honest with you, but very small amount of money. Okay, But Charles Smith, I agree with you. Chi looks like the capital of the world. I don't know what Chi is. I'm talking about Chi-Town, Chicago. I'm not sure what you're saying there. All right, Unicorn Mullet, Vegas is mad. I love Vegas. Okay, let's see, Dak Hog, 3. I can tell you guys great Vegas stories. I went to Vegas when I was 21, man. Climbing onto airplanes, crawling onto airplanes because I'm so fucking hungover. Let me know if you guys want that story. Okay, a birthday shout out to Dixie Normus. I don't know who Dixie Normus is. Okay, do you know a Dixon Myers? No, I don't know a Dixon Myers. I know a Sean Dixon. All right, let's see. This is Anthony HK6N. Anthony, you're good. Good to see you, dude. Glad you're here. Anyone that comes to the stream that has talked to on my previous conversations, I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me, and I want to make sure that I always shout you guys out. And I remember who you are. I'm not the best with names, so I try to remember everyone. I try and remember what we talked about and have some kind of a rapport because I think that's important to building the channel. Okay, Mr. Good Citizen 9914. Let them eat cake. No, we don't want to let them eat cake. Pops Scudadrian. Oh, this is Pope Scoo Adrian, I guess. 7494 idiot. Okay, cool. King David 5932. Thoughts on Jim Carrey clone? I don't know that story. I saw the story. I didn't read it. I love Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's a genius. Okay. I loved when we did the Sir Mix-a-Lot. What was it like the let that bitch eat chicken? I don't remember. Okay, Edward Mismas. I would enjoy some chocolate cake. All right, I love the lamp. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Everyone loves the leg lamp. Again, I love Christmas. I've told you guys many times. I'm a big fan of Christmas time. Let's see. He didn't start a car company. He bought one. Okay, again, dude, you can. And this is one of the things that people do when it comes to people that do great things. They do anything they can to minimize what it is that they did. Like Elon Musk doesn't need to prove himself to anybody. And then they'll say things like, "Oh God, Elon Musk got government money, government this, government." They always love to talk about the things that got you to where you were. But ultimately, Elon Musk won the war. And you can say whatever you want about the guy. There's always a low point and there's always a high point, and there's a lot of bullshit that happens in between with any business, every business. Like I was making millions during COVID. I lost it all. You guys ever want to hear that story? Okay. So we all have stories, right? I've had mortgage my home, sell cars, do all kinds of crazy shit. Also sold to celebrities. I got to meet really cool people. So, I mean, the stories run the gamut, right? It's not like everything is great, everything's bad. This one thing made it all possible. That one thing tore it all down. It never works out like that. But again, people that don't really understand what it takes to build something up over a long period of time love to try and minimize things, But ultimately, Elon Musk's fucking genius. And you can't deny the guy. Say whatever you want about him. You cannot deny what the guy has done. And the greatest thing he ever did is not Tesla. It's not SpaceX. It's not the Boring Company. It's not Neuralink. It's buying X, guys. Single greatest thing we ever did for free speech in this country. So, anyway, put that in your pipe and smoke it there, Brian. Okay, all right, Nick Hobson here. Nick Hobson, I don't think I'm going to read your comment because, again, you've had nothing constructive to offer. Adrian Miller, 4507 from G-Lay. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Adrian Miller. Yes, I appreciate it. Everyone loves a leg lamp. Okay, I can tell how much you care about your employees that you have. Okay, great. DS Bada 2039, gambling is harm. I agree, man. I think most people can't handle gambling. And again, I can talk about I've had months where I've lost thousands of dollars, and I've had months where I've won thousands of dollars. But over my life, I've realized that gambling is just kind of this. It's just like you're going to have this, but ultimately, if you look over, if you extrapolate it out over 1 year to 10 years, you'll see that no matter what, the trajectory is always down. You will always lose money in the long run gambling. So, again, if you can't handle that, if you're not okay with it, don't do it, guys. But everyone's got to have a vice. Like I said, I'm not a big drinker. I'm not a big smoker. I'm not a womanizer. I do love gambling and I love cars. Like I would get rid of everything I have to buy certain kinds of cars. I'm just those are my vices. That and work. I love work. All right, where is Superman? I don't know, man. This is WMG 96AC. I don't know where Superman is. I'm a big Superman fan. I'm an avid comic book collector. I've collected comic books my entire life. I love Superman. Okay, Leon Martin Q9, and the lamp looks quirky and one of a kind by itself. But if there are any other thirsty looking posters or decorations in your home, I would like you to look super skeevy. Okay, so I have a new camera. This is my phone, obviously. I got a new camera. We got a wide angle lens, so I'll put some more shit on this credenza when I get this all set up. Truth is, I'm not tech savvy at all. Like I'm trying to build a CNC router today. I am not tech savvy. Once I get that figured out, I'll show you guys what we got going back here. We can do some more Christmas memorabilia. We can do all kinds of fun stuff. Okay, Art Tempe 8006. What do you think the Yankees will be? Help with new compensation. I don't know what you're saying there, dude, about the Yankees. I don't know if that's an American reference, if that's a sports reference, I'm not sure. Okay, why is there one of Musk's legs in the lamp? That's hilarious, man. Jeffrey Turtleman, what's your Furzona? I'm not sure what you're saying there, dude. Abi Siana, Elon for free speech or hate speech. Again, the point of free speech, guys, is to protect the nastiest shit you guys can think of. That's the whole point of it. This idea that people promote hate speech, this is a virtuous belief. This is what people learn in academia. This is what people think that women can be men and men can be women, that think it's okay to send men into women's bathrooms, that think that, climate's going to destroy everything, and that thinks that 18-year-olds should make a living wage of whatever, $30 an hour. These are luxury beliefs, and you can only have these beliefs in places like America, So say what you ever will there, Abby Sania, whatever the hell you say. I can't pronounce your name, and I don't agree with your comment, but I appreciate you believing it out there. So you guys are sure you hit the like button, add the discussion, and continue this thing going on. Go through a few more comments. Then we're going to go from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Savannah, Georgia, the second most popular tourist destination in America, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's see. We got... Okay, if you could be a furry, what type of furry would you be? So funny thing, seriously funny story, guys. You guys want to hear a story about it's not really furries, it's actually bears. Bear is a term for gay, big, hairy dudes. So we were going to Dallas, Texas. So went to Dallas, Texas, and we're staying at the Grand Hyatt down there, and it's a beautiful hotel, and I forget what the hell we were doing there. My wife flew down there for something. Oh, we were gonna go meet with another company that's in our space, the furniture space. Great company called Scout Studio. If you guys look them up on Instagram, they're a great company, sell a lot of great furniture. They're in the design district down there in Dallas. Well, anyway, my wife flew down there. I had a Lotus Evora at the time, and I don't like to fly. Like I would rather drive, a really cool car around the country than fly anywhere. I don't care how long it takes. I like to drive. I like to see things. And so I drove from St. Louis, Missouri, in my Lotus down to Dallas, Texas, which is like 8 or 10 hour drive. And so she made it there in the morning. I made it there in the evening, and we didn't know it, but there was a bear convention going on there at the Grand Hyatt there in Dallas, right? So there's all these big dudes there, and they're all very flamboyant and fun, and you clearly could tell these were a bunch of gay guys, but we had no idea what was going on. We had no idea this event was going on. So finally, we asked this Asian dude, we're like, hey man, like what the fuck's going on with all these big dudes here? He's like, oh yeah, it's a bear convention. And we're like, what the hell's a bear convention? He's like, oh, it's a bunch of big hairy men. They all get together and they have a good time. They sit down and they party together. They go out, they have drinks, but they all do it at this event at the Grand Hyatt. It's fucking hilarious, So we ended up going to the bar and we're shooting the shit with all these basically big gay hairy men, and it was a blast. We had a great time. Like in the furniture industry and the design industry that we're in, like you get tons of gay people. We love gay people. And gay people, they always got money. They take care of themselves. They take care of their homes. They're the best neighbors you could possibly have. We freaking love gay clients. So we had a blast at the bear convention that was going on there. So no, that's my fun little story for you guys. All right, Jeff Jones 7233. You should get into Russian roulette. Yeah, thanks, dude. I appreciate that one. All right, Christian Med Wide 852. Being comfortable financially and having a peaceful life is the key. Being excessively rich doesn't always bring happiness. I agree with that, 100%. Like I said, and my story is getting excessive. I'm not excessively rich. But what I will say about that is people that then say things like that, they also like to talk about work-life balance. Oh, you need to have balance. Once you get money, you can buy time and all these kind of things. And I don't see it that way. There's no such thing as work-life balance. When you're really good at something, this isn't my thing. This is David Goggins' thing. He basically says that when you get really good at something, when you become elite at what it is you do, and you get really successful at anything, everyone's going to hate you. No one's going to understand what you do because you can't be like other people and achieve that kind of greatness. You know, you can't be crazy David Goggins and people understand how you got there. I mean, the guy's out there running forever and lifting weights, and he lives this wild life that nobody can understand, and he just rebels against this idea of work-life balance. And I think it's a thing. Like, again, a guy like Elon Musk, no one understands that guy. He works all the time. His life is work, and no one understands it, you know. So I don't know, but yeah, money is not everything, man. Like I said, and the funny thing about what I always love when people always say, "Oh, money doesn't buy happiness." I always love that. I was thinking, like, yeah, I sure would like to fucking test that theory, you know. And then, like I said, I've had years where I've had a ton of money and I've got to buy all the fun shit, and I loved it. But then it all goes away, so I can't figure out how to keep it. You know, that would be nice if I could figure out how to keep it so I could really test that theory. But what I found out in life is that when you just get enough to, like I said, not look at grocery prices, be able to pay cash to put tires on your car. Once you get to that level, I'm good. You know, I would like to have a McLaren in my garage. I don't currently. If I get the McLaren, I think I'd be pretty good. But I mean, you don't need to have a massive amount of money, but a little bit of money definitely goes a long way. So, Jeffrey Tuttleman, let's see. You know that I hate tortoises. All right, just I swam with tortoises when I was in Hawaii. It was kind of a lot of fun. So we have bears in the furry community to put their more animal-like. Okay. So we said, okay, so you don't think racist, homophobic, and anti-Semitic speech is hatred? No, I don't. No, I don't. Again, you protect the speech that is the worst. And again, I work with Jews all the time. I don't know any anti-Semitic people. Anti-Semitism exists in colleges and it exists on social media platforms because people can just like to say nasty, vile shit. I've never met anyone that's like that, and I don't get it, but apparently it's a thing. But again, I don't think that you should suppress anti-Semitic speech. I don't think you should suppress racist speech. I don't think you should suppress homophobic speech. You got to protect it because that's what makes this country so great, in my opinion, you know. But do I believe in racism, homophobia, and anti-Semitism? No, I don't. But again, the speech, you got to protect it. This is America. This isn't Riyadh. So, okay, all right, so this is a Christian Med, Christian Med Wid, 856, sorry, my eyes are going a little cross-eyed. Steve Jobs could not buy time, and he was a billionaire, 100%, but Steve Jobs, I don't think, could turn it off. You know, when Steve Jobs died, he was building a yacht. Like, he was going to be like Jeff Bezos and cruise around. He just didn't make it. You know, he got cancer too soon. And the guy was he was addicted to his product, his business, his life. Like, the guy had been, like, literally, he'd started Apple. He got kicked out of Apple, right? And then when the executive team fucked it all up, they literally brought him back in to rebuild it. He rebuilt it. He make it bigger, better than ever. And it probably killed him in a way. I mean, cancer obviously killed the guy. But, I mean, he probably would have died from stress, from just being addicted to the rush of innovation, you know? But I don't know. I don't know, man. Steve Jobs was a fascinating guy if you ever read him. Okay, Jeffrey Tatum, so you can just need to have enough to continue to bring joy in your life. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, Jeffrey Turtleman. Okay, more tortoise stuff. So the thing about money, guys, is, and again, I've never had enough to really know the whole gamut. But the great thing about money is Sarah Blakely had a great quote about money that I really think is pretty honest. She said that if you were an asshole before you had money, it will make you an even bigger asshole. If you are a generous and caring person before you have money, it'll make you a more generous and more caring person. I think that's generally true. Like I said, I haven't been able to really test that theory so much, but I think that's probably a good way to look at money, you know, if I'm being completely honest. Okay, all right, so let's finish up our story. We're going into Savannah, Georgia. So again, learned all these skills, tons of skills at Global Engineering. This company paid me no money. They worked me to death, but I learned a lot of stuff. Took that into Nordam, which then took me down to Tulsa. Nordam actually paid me really, really well. Great benefits, great pay, great everything, great company. Nothing bad to say about that company. But I always wanted to work for Gulfstream, which is the creme de la creme of aerospace companies in the private jet industry. And so I finally got up to work there, worked out great. They hired me, moved me out to Savannah, Georgia. So I moved out to Savannah, Georgia. Savannah, Georgia was like paradise to me. Again, I grew up in Oregon, which was amazing, but I was too young to really enjoy it, living in the mountains, having the Pacific Ocean there, living in the Willamette Valley, which is now wine country. I mean, gorgeous area. Having the hills, Mary's Peak, and all that kind of stuff, a lot of fun. But I never was able to appreciate it. So once I get to Savannah, it's like I've got the beautiful beaches, you got the Atlantic Ocean, the water's warm. You're in a tourist destination that has a lot of money. You can drink on the streets. It's a pretty cool place. Lots of the horses, the carriage, the beautiful Southern charm, the homes, the history of the Civil War. I mean, it was like magical. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, right? And you work for a company like Gulfstream. Working for Gulfstream in the town of Savannah is like having credit, right? Without going to a bank. They see you in a Gulfstream uniform. It's like, oh my God, this guy's a qualified buyer. He can, get home loans. He can get car loans. He can, when he walks into grocery stores, he can buy anything he wants. When he walks into furniture stores, he can buy anything he wants. It's a really interesting thing. So there's a lot of, I really enjoyed that. So when I went to work, again, now I'm working in a place that's beautiful. I'm getting to really enjoy the area. People love the fact that you work for this company. They really respect you and the company. And making really good money, really good benefits, the best of everything, the best tools. You have to have your own tools. Gulfstream provides everything, guys. They don't want your bullshit equipment. This is the first time in my life where I didn't have to have my own tools, which is really cool. I mean, they just provide everything. You can get preferred interest loans because of the footprint that company has in that town. It's a really wild experience. But I'm loving it. It's great. I'm getting to work on all the most exclusive jets. You get to see all the cool people that own the jets. The economy around a private jet is not just the jet, right? Everyone thinks like, oh God, Tom Cruise has a jet. Like, no, it doesn't always work that way. There are some people that own their own jets, but there's entire economies around private jets because it takes so much infrastructure to keep them running. It takes a lot of employees to keep a jet flying. So I learned a lot about industry, a lot about business, a lot about how to work on expensive assets and how to be around expensive assets and people that have infinite amounts of money. It taught me a lot about that kind of stuff. Again, getting to build this stuff at Gulfstream. I didn't learn a lot of new stuff working at Gulfstream, but for the first time in my life, I was around people that I became friends with. This had never happened before. So I ended up going fishing with a lot of people that I would have gone fishing with. I ended up doing, doing workouts, going and meeting other people's families. I finally, for the very first time in my life, actually got to have a family experience working at this company. And again, we only worked 40 hours for the most part. We didn't work a ton of hours. So I had a lot of extra time, guys, like an insane amount of extra time. So what did I do with that time? And what do you guys think I did with that time? Did I watch more Netflix? Did I go watch more movies? Did I go try and, bang strippers and hookers? Did I take up blow? No. I went and got a second job because I didn't know what to do with the time. All I know was the grind. So there was a company there because there's a lot of, when you have a major OEM like Gulfstream, there are a lot of people that support that business. So what happens is I went to work for one of these businesses that was supplying parts and different things to Gulfstream. And I worked 20 hours a week helping them get Gulfstream contracts, right? Helping them learn how to work with honeycomb sandwich panels and make cabinets for jets, right? They were doing countertops and things like that before, but then they wanted to move into making furniture. And so I helped them to do that. So I'm working 40 hours at Gulfstream. I'm working 20 hours at this place called Bellaterra. And again, you can go online and all these people are still in business. But I'm learning to do this. Well, then I had another person come to me and say, hey, you know what? We'd like you to build some stuff for us, right? Me, because the people that work at a Gulfstream were doing the work before, I didn't want to do it anymore, so they passed those clients on to me. So then I started making things real. So then I started my own company. I got a great opportunity. They threw a shit ton of money at me and started building stuff. And ultimately, I failed, right? I ended up failing, which sucked. But the experience I had at Gulfstream, while I don't have a ton of great stories necessarily, it freed me up to have a lot of time to where I started to get the business kind of thing. Like, I want to do this for myself. I want to figure out how to do it. I want to deal with the bullshit. I want to have my own company. So I started building kitchen cabinets. I started building different kinds of furniture, doing cornices, railings, anything I could for this one designer, right? And ultimately, it went tits up, which sucked. But I decided at that point, because I had all this time, I was able to do a lot more thinking. Like, life just changed quite a bit. I wasn't under as much stress to just keep grinding. I didn't have as much family stress. I didn't have as much money stress. It was just like, I had a lot more time to think, right? So I decided, well, I had a kid, right, when I was in Kansas. I didn't talk about that, but I could. I wanted to do a little bit more, be closer to do the dad thing. And so Gulfstream moved me up to St. Louis, Missouri, which is where I am now. and they bought out a company called Jet Professionals. And they're like, hey, why don't you go up there and help these guys do the Gulfstream way, right? Be the standard, as they say. So I went up there to help these guys, and we were working with a different management team. And again, I'm not a manager, by the way. I'm just a builder who does a lot of shit. I went up there. I lasted, I think I lasted 4 to 6 months. I don't remember exactly how. The transition from working at Gulfstream in Savannah to working in St. Louis with a group of people who weren't really interested in working the way we worked in Gulfstream, it was so chaotic that I quit. I literally just quit. I couldn't deal with it anymore. I was trying to be dad a little bit more. I had a lot of different things happening in my life. I quit and I went to another company called West Star Aviation, which is in Alton, Illinois, which actually I ended up living here now, but I still lived in St. Louis, right? So I go to work for this company, and I'm just working, and the entire time, guys, like I haven't even talked about any of this, but I ran the entire time. I was doing marathons, I was doing ultra marathons, I was doing obstacle course racing, long distance shit, like 20 miles and above. This is the stuff that I like to do, which is why my channel is called Modern Woodrunner. So I'm doing all this kind of stuff. Well, I end up taking this new job, and I end up meeting this woman. You know, again, I dated the entire time I was in Savannah, dated a long time, but then left her because, again, one thing you have to learn in life, guys, is you can't have dead weight around you. Like, if you guys want me to go into this, I'd be happy to. And I'm sure no one wants to hear this, but you can't have dead weight. You can't have mediocre people around you. It is just suffocating sometimes what these people will do to you. So I end up meeting a woman, right? I meet this woman. I'm working for West Star Aviation. And again, I'm not really liking the work. If I'm being completely honest, it's fine. We're getting to work on fun. I mean, I was working on Tay-Tay's plane at that point. Like I said, I did Kohler's plane over there. It was pretty cool. We did, I'll tell you some of the other great planes we did over there. I can't think of a ton of them. Those might have been the only two that were kind of impressive if anyone, anyone cares about that kind of stuff. But I met this woman. Anyway, she was learning how to paint furniture, and she developed this paint process and was starting to sell things on Etsy. And so she's selling furniture on Etsy, and we start dating. And again, I don't want anything to do with what she's doing. She doesn't want anything to do with what I'm doing. We're just having fun. We're just, like conversating, like being around each other. Well, eventually she starts showing me some of the stuff she's having built, like bases to antique furniture, fixes and doors and drawers, stuff like that. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this is dog shit. All this dog shit. I mean, people are actually making stuff for her out of like pine. And I'm just like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like, this is the worst stuff I've ever seen. And she flat out tells me, she says, you know what? Unless you're going to make it, like, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. So, I mean, she like put me in place right away. It's just like, oh, this is interesting. So I'm like, okay, well, fine. I am going to build this stuff for you. Even though I didn't want to do it, this lasted for like a year. And finally, I'm just like, no, I can't deal with this anymore. So I started making stuff for her, and it turned into where now we're converting antique furniture. We're putting doors where there are drawers where there are doors. We're adding height to things. We're stretching cabinets out. We're just turning, again, antique furniture into vanities. We're turning massive china cabinets into TV cabinets. We're just doing all kinds of work. And we grew this thing into what it is today. So today it's 8 employees, and again, it started in a 1.5 car garage. It's 8 employees. It's I don't know. It's probably 1 to 2 million a year in revenue. It's grinding away, learning all kinds of skills, going from making everything by hand to now we're using CNC routers. We're making things in India. We've got all these different revenue streams, and it's a full-on business. But I guess the moral of all of this, right? We started in Corvallis, Oregon. We went to Wichita, Kansas. We went to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We then went to Savannah, Georgia. We then came back to St. Louis, Missouri, right? So the moral of all this stuff is if you're here, you're still here and you're listening to all this, and I'll do questions before I'm done. The story, guys, is that I never stopped doing the thing. I never stopped the woodworking. I always woodworked. I always learned all these different skills, right? Throughout every place I worked. I always volunteered for everything. I always took every opportunity that was given to me, and I was always, and unbeknownst to me at the time, but I was always given those opportunities because they weren't paying me nothing. They weren't giving me good benefits. 401k sucked. I mean, if I want, from a money standpoint, I wasted 11 years of my life. But what I learned was worth so much more than what those guys would have ever paid me. And the moral of the story, guys, is that just because you're not making money, just because you're not getting the best benefits, there's a lot of benefits to being the guy that shows up every day, that volunteers for everything, that is around the bosses, that volunteers to go into different departments, learn new technologies, take on the bullshit work that nobody else wants to do, travel, outside of America, travel to different states, do all that work culminates in learning a ton of shit that then gives you the opportunity to go do the thing that you want to do. It gives you a lot of options. right? Because like today, based on what I've done as a business owner, I could go work for any aerospace company I want. Not because I'm a great furniture maker and they need a good furniture maker, but because I ran a company. I've done it for 10 years. If I want to go into sales, I can go into sales. If I want to go into engineering, I can go into engineering, right? If I want to go into whatever, go back to making cabinets, if I want to go be a manager, I can do all these kinds. All these skills have led me to where now we run a company. You know, and I think that's kind of the story, guys. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's good for anybody. And again, people can say, oh, this is just for you. It's not for anybody else. Like, no, I think these stories are wildly valuable. And I think it's important to listen to what people are doing. Because if people are being honest and they tell their story, what you're really going to hear is a lot of people, they bounced around from this to this. They didn't have to work very much. They kind of, I won't say half-assed it, but they, you know, they'll say, well, I had family obligations and I had, you know, I'd go to kids' recitals and I had marital problems and I had money problems. And I had all these problems. And again, my story is, yeah, I had all that shit too, but I forsake most of it for my job, right? For my skill, for the thing that I do today. I sacrificed a lot of things to get where I am today, and this is the story. Whether you like it or not, whether it's good or bad, doesn't matter. It's just the reality of what the story was. Started in Paradise, Oregon there, and ended up here in St. Louis, and again, had to move around a bunch to make it happen, but at the end of the day, it was a good thing. You know, I don't regret anything that happened in my life. I don't regret losing my marriages, not getting to spend enough time with my kids. I don't regret any of it. Like, it all was supposed to end up here, and that's kind of how I see it. So if somebody can listen to the story and you know, maybe they can get some kind of, it's relatable to people. I think that's a good, like I said, I think we need more people that are just relatable to other ones, that other people that have had similar stories or in similar situations, and it's a very, I think, normie kind of a story, you know? So anyway, that's my story, guys. Let's go with our comments real quick, and I'm going to get out of here. I think I gave you guys 2 hours. That's pretty good. I'm sure my mic's going to die any minute. Okay, all right, so let's see. Jeffrey Turtle, let's hear what you got to say. Let's see. Okay, Turtle, I get what you have downloaded because of the Apple database, cell phone. Personally, it'll be the web. Okay, Jeff, I'm not sure what you're saying there. No one would stop me. All right, if you're a generous and caring person, you probably won't be rich for very long. And again, Jeffrey Tuttleman, you're so wrong, dude. Like, you're so cynical. You guys think that people get rich by fucking everyone over? Like, I hear this all the time. Like, I'm tell you guys that's not true. You don't get rich. I like to use Donald Trump as an example because everyone likes to talk shit on that guy. Like, you can inherit all the money in the world. If you fuck people over forever, guess what? You're gonna run out of money. No one's gonna do business with you, and your name is gonna be shit, especially in the era of the internet. You're not gonna be able to do anything. Like, no one will do business with you. You have to be a good business person for other businesses to do business with you. You have to be able to be a good business to get people to continue to give you their money, right? And you can say, oh, they just steal it, or there's so many people to fuck over, they just keep fucking people. It doesn't work that way, guys. And again, I push back on anyone that says it. It's not true. Like, you have to be a good person to get wealthy. You have to have some, you have to provide some, maybe good person is the wrong word. You have to provide value over a long period of time to get rich. There's no get rich schemes out there, guys. There's no, you know, just buy my course and you're going to go get rich in real estate. You buy my course, you're going to get rich in woodworking. Buy my course, you're going to get rich in, you know, gold. Like, it just, I don't know of anybody that's made money that way. And the people that say, oh, God, just inherit the wealth. Like, you're super cynical, guys. People just need to inherit wealth. Oh, everyone just inherited wealth. Like, there's a lot of old money in this world, guys. There's tons of people that 3rd, 4th, 5th generation rich. I love those customers. I think they're great. You know, but they're very rare. There's not a lot of that. So anyway, that's my experience. All right, Sania Jobs was more salesman than any inventor. Steve Wozniak was the brains of Apple. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think it's a great comment. I think you're right. Like, Steve Jobs, not only the salesperson, but the visionary. Like, Wozniak, from what I understand, wasn't really the visionary. He was the guy that was the practical guy. He's the guy that could actually turn an idea into reality, you know? So as far as I'm concerned, like, Jobs was the innovator he's the guy that had the idea. He understood the interface. He understood what people actually wanted. And again, fantastic salesperson. I mean, he could just go up there and wow people with his Apple conferences, and people still try and replicate it today. I mean, so clearly he left his mark there, you know? And again, Steve's had great vision. Like, he, a lot of people don't know this, but he was a massive investor in, was it Pixar. And company did wildly well. I mean, literally changed how animation was done. So, I mean, Jobs had an eye for innovation and an eye for what people really wanted, you know? So, all right, last couple comments. Okay, they're both named Steve, and so history will probably assume they're the same person. Yeah, you're probably right, Jeff. That's probably true. Hopefully people understand. Okay, we got Strand, V6 Station. How old are you, brother? Sounds like my life too. Yeah, I'm 46 years old, man. And again, I didn't plan on ending up where I am. I didn't plan on ending up here in St. Louis, if I'm being completely honest. But I knew that I loved woodworking. I loved chasing, like I love the idea of working for an exclusive company or a very not exclusive, but you know, a company that has a great reputation, right? I love the idea of working on private jets. I like knowing that I was on Michael Jordan's plane. I like knowing that I was on the same plane that, you know, Ken Griffin had been on, right? Like I love this idea of being on these planes where these great people, like Rush Limbaugh's plane, you know, like I like that. It was great, and I just love doing different things. Like I said, when they needed someone to go into engineering, it's like, I'll volunteer for it. It ended up working out. You know, we need someone to go, you know, deal with Hawker Beechcraft. They're going to come in and audit us. You need to go through the bill of materials with them and show them all the receipts and track all this. I was just interested in whatever this company needed, but I never lost sight of woodworking, of aerospace, of all these things. And it just became really good to do a lot of different things. And again, it's the grind, man. It wasn't I'd never graduated high school. I'm a fucking idiot, but just the grind and the being interested, the being willing to do the thing that other people probably didn't want to do as much. That's all it is. It's not some special thing, you know. So anyway, Strand, if you got the same story, man, I appreciate it. Like I said, I hope someone hears this and just thinks like, yeah, sounds like my story, you know. It's kind of cool, you know. We all kind of like to hear people that are like us. Mr. Good Citizen back in here, 9914. Steve Jobs was a terrible person, though. Okay, well, again, you can again focus on the negative in anybody's life. Everyone's got a bad part of their life, bad part of their story, bad part of their ego, whatever. And again, people that get really wealthy, you develop a little bit of an ego, and you can't get away from it. All right, Immortal 2332 U4V, you got the last comment, dude. How much for your lamp? Not for sale. No amount of money can buy my lamp. So anyway, you guys, it's Sunday. You guys have a great weekend. Drink a beer, relax. You know, Mondays, we got a great week next week. Every day I try and talk about something that is current events. You know, today I was just telling my story because again, that's what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about war. I don't want to talk about, you know, going over to the Middle East. I don't want to talk about any of that shit. I show you guys how to build furniture. I got lots of videos on how to make different kinds of furniture on my website. Got lots of videos on how to work with metal. I do all kinds of fun stuff on I like to do the live stream format because I get to interact with you guys. You guys can comment back and forth, and we can have a dialogue about things in real time. I think that's the way of the future. I think this idea of produced videos and videos for clicks and videos chasing sponsors, I think we're going to get away from that. It's going to be more people showing people how to do things that they actually do, right? But we'll see. So anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic, what was this, Immortal saying 550. Are you talking about the G550? Yeah, I worked on thousands of those. I mean, probably hundreds. Lots of G550s, lots of 280s, lots of 650s, right? So when I was there, the 650 had just come out. The 650 ER had just come out, so I did lots of 650s, 650 ERs. Flew all over the place working on different, you know, Coke, Pepsi, whatever. I've worked on, like I said, so many jets, it's not even funny. So, oh, you're talking about price. God, 550. No money, dude. I don't need it. I don't want your money. I like my lamp. I'm gonna keep it that way. So, Immortal, I appreciate the back and forth, dude. Not selling the lamp. I'm sure there's plenty of, you can find some online. I'm sure someone will sell you one. But anyway, you guys have a great weekend. We'll do this again later. Bye.